Germany of Iron and Blood. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Prince of Germany. Potsdam is located on the banks of the Havel River, only 27 kilometers away from Berlin. This is a small town with beautiful scenery. The German royal family built a palace here. The Kaiser lives here for more than half of the year. A young man was sitting by the Havel River, watching the quietly flowing river, without saying a word. This boy is named Qin Tian. Of course, this was the name of his previous life. Now, he is called Oscar. This is undoubtedly a name that makes Qin Tian very speechless, because he will always be associated with that American movie award. Fortunately, even movies have just started now, like a toddler. Naturally there will be no movie awards with various names in later generations. Why he became Oscar, or why he traveled to this world, Qin Tian didn't know. He just clearly remembered that it had only been a year since he came to this world, as if his soul had merged into the body of this young man named Oscar. And, it's not the 21st century, it's the beginning of the 20th century. In other words, now he lives more than 100 years ago. In another time and space, Qin Tian had a very wealthy family. Both parents are successful businessmen, which makes them busy with business all day and night, almost becoming trapeze. Naturally, he didn't have much time to take care of Qin Tian. And Qin Tian didn't do evil like other rich second generations, relying on money to do evil, but became a complete nerd and a military enthusiast. Qin Tian is keen on collecting military historical materials, weapons, and equipment from various countries, and even various military historical relics and weapon models, aircraft cannons, tanks, and warships, everything that one expects to find. Qin Tian is particularly interested in Germany. In his view, Germany is undoubtedly a very tragic country. The people of this country are industrious, rigorous, and rigid, as if they were machines. However, their strength cannot be denied. In the two wars in the first half of the 20th century, they almost defeated the strong enemy with few enemies, and became the hegemony of the world. However, every time it fell short. Qin Tian even guessed that, if in the First World War Germany defeated Britain, France and other countries, and dominated the European continent, then, is the subsequent history of the world different from the history he is familiar with? It's just that there is no way to repeat history, let alone hypothesize. However, God seemed to have played a joke on him. When Qin Tian got a big Iron Cross medal from Germany at a huge price, when he opened the package excitedly, a burst of dazzling light flashed. After feeling dizzy for a while, Qin Tian realized that he had become another person. The current Qin Tian has a prominent status. He was Emperor of the Second Reich of Germany and Prince Oscar, the fifth son of Kaiser Wilhelm II. However, Qin Tian, who is familiar with the fate of the Second Empire, is not satisfied with this identity. Once the Second Empire collapsed, the princes of the German royal family had almost no good end. In another time and space, Prince Oscar died at the age of 60. But almost all of them are just trying to survive and live in the world. This kind of life is not what Qin Tian wants to live. What should I do? It is already 1904. The war is only 10 years away. Is it true that the fate of Germany's defeat cannot be reversed? Qin Tian murmured. Now he feels a deep sense of helplessness and anxiety. Although Germany's industrial output value has surpassed that of the United Kingdom, it has become an industrial power second only to the United States. Moreover, in terms of high technology, especially military technology, Germany is several streets behind the United States. The United States today is not the Uncle Sam of later generations. It can be regarded as Boy Sam at best. Although it has achieved great success in industry, there is still a big gap compared with Europe. Europe is now the center of the world, but Britain controls the most colonies in the world and has the most powerful navy in the world. Compared with Britain, Germany has huge disadvantages in many aspects. First of all, although Germany has a developed industry, it lacks various minerals except coal. The sales market of various industrial products is heavily dependent on overseas markets. Once the war broke out, the German Navy could not break the blockade of the British Navy. German industrial products cannot be sold overseas, and various natural resources cannot be obtained by sea. There is undoubtedly only one final result, and that is to be dragged to death alive. It can be said that this is undoubtedly the main reason why Germany was defeated in the two world wars. Secondly, Germany, located in the middle of Europe, is strategically located. The traffic can be described as extending in all directions. But at the same time, it also made Germany fall into a situation surrounded by powerful enemies. Britain and France to the west and Russia to the east are all enemies of Germany. Although the ally of the Austro-Hungarian Empire exists, the Austro-Hungarian Empire only has the name of a powerful country in the world, but it is actually vulnerable. Their performance in the war can be described as rubbish. Such an ally will not only fail to help Germany, but will also drag Germany down. The so-called not afraid of opponents like gods, but teammates like pigs. When the enemy and the enemy's allies are all godlike opponents, while their own allies are like pig-like teammates, no matter how strong Germany is, it can only be beaten to death. Although, Germany now has begun to build a powerful navy, the ambitious William II was even more eager to build a powerful fleet capable of defeating the British Navy. But because there are enemies all around, this makes it necessary for Germany to have a strong army. Therefore, it is impossible for Germany to invest all its financial resources in the construction of the navy. This made the gap between the German Navy and the British Navy not only not narrowed, but also widened. When Germany began to build battleships on a large scale, the British pointed out even more arrogantly that when Germany launched one battleship, they launched two, always maintaining an overwhelming advantage over the German Navy. Damn it, no matter how you look at it, Germany is bound to die. Is it possible that, as a prince of Germany, I will end up surviving and surviving forever? Qin Tian thought helplessly. Although, it has been a year since he was reborn as Prince Oscar, I'm already very familiar with this world. But Qin Tian didn't he feel the joy of being a prince at all, instead fell into endless crises and worries. This also made him appear more taciturn in the eyes of others. Chapter 2, Eat and Die. If Germany can defeat the British and France in this war, then maybe everything can be changed. However, it will be too difficult for Germany to win this war. Qin Tian said to the quietly flowing Haveler said. It's just that when thinking about this aspect, Qin Tian felt a deep sense of helplessness. He wants to contribute his strength to Germany's defeat of powerful enemies in future wars. However, he is only the fifth son of William II. There are 4 older brothers, and the eldest brother is the crown prince of the empire. He has a younger brother and a younger sister, both of whom were more favored by William II than he. It can be said that among the several children of William II, Prince Oscar can almost be regarded as a dispensable role. This makes him helpless, even if he wants to participate in Germany's hegemony. According to the trajectory of historical development, he will be sent to the Kiel Naval Academy, study for a few years, and then serve in the Navy. As a civilian or a small officer, he has almost no future. When the war broke out, and Germany was defeated, the entire royal family had to leave Germany, and go into exile in the Netherlands. These distinguished princes will be stripped of their glamorous coats, and live an idyllic existence until they finally die in humiliation. No, I can't live this kind of life. I can't just eat and wait to die. Otherwise, wouldn't I regret it for the rest of my life? Besides, God made me reborn in Germany during this period, and I definitely don't want me to live in such a mediocre way. Finish this life. Qin Tian swore secretly. There are still 10 years left. If careful preparations are made, will Germany have a chance to come back? Qin Tian asked himself in his heart. Whether it is for Germany or Qin Tian, they need time. It takes time to prepare for the coming war. Especially Qin Tian, with his current status, it is not an easy task to gain the attention of the Kaiser and contribute his own strength to Germany. You can't waste time going to the Kiel Naval Academy. 4 years is enough to do a lot of things. For example, make a lot of money. Qin Tian secretly thought. Developing armaments, manufacturing tanks and warships all require a lot of money. A battleship needs tens of millions of marks. Even the first-class dreadnought ship of the German Navy, the Nassau-class battleship, cost 40 million marks. For the limited military expenditure of the German Navy, it is obviously very difficult to compete with the British Navy and the number of battleships. If Qin Tian can earn enough money to support the development of the German Navy in the next 10 years, maybe everything will be different. As a military enthusiast, Qin Tian had a deep research on the warships of various countries during World War. I know the pros and cons of the main warships of each country. In this regard, it is undoubtedly a great advantage for the German Navy. Of course, the prerequisite is that Qin Tian must have a certain amount of power. Only in this way can he apply his knowledge of more than 100 years ahead to strengthen Germany's military strength. It's just that, for him who has never been favored by William II, it is undoubtedly harder than reaching the sky if he wants to gain power. What's more, he is only 16 years old now. Your Highness, Your Majesty told you to go see him immediately, a young palace attendant said to Qin Tian. Okay, Karl, I'll go right away. Qin Tian stood up and said, this young waiter is named Karl von Jonerath. Their family is all for the royal family. His father, Essen von Jonerath, was a steward to Kaiser Wilhelm II. In the palace, it has a very high status. His eldest brother is also the head of the bodyguard of Crown Prince William. Because of their similar age, Karl von Jonerath and Qin Tian had a good relationship. Do you know what His Majesty wants from me? Qin Tian asked. I don't know, but General Ludwig Birkenhagen has just left His Majesty's office. Qin Tian nodded. He probably knew what was going on. Rear Admiral Ludwig Birkenhagen, the Dean of the Kiel Naval Academy, trained many talents for the German Navy and was also highly valued by William II. When William II attached great importance to the construction of the Navy, he undoubtedly hoped that his children, could enter the Naval Academy to study, so that the children of the royal family could contribute their own strength to the strength of the German Navy. Among the many sons of William II, the eldest son, Crown Prince William, is 22 years old. As the Crown Prince, he has already begun to participate in the management of state affairs. The second son, Prince Ethel Friedrich, is 21 years old and is now serving in the army. The third son, Prince Albert, is about to graduate from the Army Academy and serve in the Guards. The fourth son, Prince August William, has just entered the Army Academy. Therefore, William II's dream of a powerful navy may only fall on Prince Oscar and his youngest son, Prince Joachim. No matter what, you can't waste 4 years in the Naval Academy. Qin Tian made up his mind secretly and then walked to William II's office. When he entered the office, he found that not only William II was there, but Crown Prince William was also there. Wilhelm II had a red face and seemed to be in a good mood. Qin Tian knew that William II had been in a good mood during this time. In order to compete for the hegemony of the Far East, Japan and Russia broke out a fierce war. Moreover, the Russians are at a disadvantage on the battlefield. This naturally made William II feel better. Russia is in alliance with France, which is undoubtedly a great enemy for Germany. William II naturally that hoped the Russians would stumble hard in the Far East. In this case, it will help weaken Russia's strength and give Germany a greater advantage in the next confrontation. When Qin Tian entered the office of William II, he heard them talking about the battle situation in Lushan. The Japanese army has completed its raid on Lushan, although the resistance of the Russian army continues. But even the Russian Pacific Fleet has been blocked in the port. Once Lushan is taken, the Russians will undoubtedly suffer heavy losses. Father, Your Royal Highness the Crown Prince. Qin Tian entered the office and saluted the two. Well, Oscar, you're here. William II nodded. Although this son does not please him. However, it was his son after all. He still hopes that this son can become a useful talent, not a prince who only knows how to eat and wait to die. Oscar, I have already made an agreement with Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen. After half a month, you can report to the Kiel Naval Academy. I hope you can study hard at the Naval Academy and become an excellent student. Naval talents. William II said with full expectation. Chapter 3, Emperor's Wrath. Qin Tian looked at William II, this majestic middle-aged man with a hint of kindness, who was ambitious, and at the same time a bit ambitious. Although, William II was a bit headstrong and conceited. But I have to admit that he is also a very outstanding monarch. William II's hegemony ended in failure entirely because his opponent was too strong. Although Germany is an emerging power, it is an enemy of established powers such as Britain and France. At the same time, the emerging power of the United States stabbed Germany at a critical moment, making it impossible for Germany to win the war. Qin Tian knew that William II was a man of his word, and it was difficult for others to change the decisions he had made. However, Qin Tian didn't want to go to Kiel Naval Academy and waste 4 years. 4 years is enough for him to do a lot of things. Among other things, it is quite possible to accumulate a lot of wealth. In that case, even if Germany still cannot avoid defeat in the end, with those wealth, he can at least be a rich man safely. Therefore, Qin Tian had to reject William II's decision. Although, he knew the consequences of doing so. If not done well, it would arouse the wrath of William II's thunder. It's just that Qin Tian can't care so much now. Father, I don't want to go to Kiel Naval Academy. Qin Tian looked at William II calmly. William II couldn't help frowning. Among the many monarchs in Europe, the power of the German emperor is undoubtedly great. Although it cannot be compared with the power of the Chinese emperor, it is also supreme. Especially in the royal family, no one can go against his will. Perhaps William II himself did not expect that Qin Tian dared to say such a thing, so he couldn't help being stunned. Crown Prince William, who was on the side, also froze from his originally smiling expression. However, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. As the Crown Prince of the Second German Empire and the first heir to the throne, he certainly hoped that all his younger brothers would be mediocre and incompetent. In this case, he will undoubtedly be able to deposit his talents well. At the same time, his throne is naturally completely stable, so he doesn't have to worry about being taken away by these younger brothers. Of course, the possibility of this happening is very small. Unless he died young, or Germany perished. Otherwise, his succession as German emperor is almost a certainty. This idiot dares to reject the royal father like this. He simply doesn't know how to live or die. Crown Prince William was delighted. Although, Crown Prince William looked down on this withdrawn younger brother from the bottom of his heart, and did not think that Prince Oscar would pose any threat to his throne. However, to be able to step on Prince Oscar to the soles of his feet and never have a chance to stand up, this is undoubtedly what he is very happy to see. Oscar, what are you going to do? This is the royal father's arrangement for your future life. How can you refuse? If you say this, you have completely failed the royal father's kindness. Crown Prince William immediately jumped out and praised Qin Tian blame. It was as if Qin Tian had committed some heinous crime. A trace of displeasure flashed across William II's face, but he hid it well. He waved his hand to stop Crown Prince William from chattering. Oscar, do you have any ideas? If you really don't want to go to the Kiel Naval Academy, you can go to another academy. How about the Army Academy? William II asked. In order to show their loyalty to the German Empire and win the love of the people, the princes of the German royal family often develop in the direction of the military. Whether it is the army or the navy, you have to serve. Only in this way can the people see that the royal family is on the front line of defending the empire and the interests of the people. Under the gaze of William II, Qin Tian immediately felt tremendous pressure. Father, I don't want to go to college anymore. I want to do something by myself. Qin Tian said bravely. After Qin Tian uttered these words, the expressions on the faces of William II and Crown Prince William became very exciting. William II's face was full of uncontrollable anger. From his eyes, Qin Tian could clearly see his disappointment. Obviously, in the eyes of William II, Qin Tian has completely become a coward who is not self-motivated and even evades his duties and obligations. After a short period of astonishment, Crown Prince William gloated a little. He also didn't expect that Qin Tian would be more self-willed and depraved than he expected. In this case, he can almost conclude that Qin Tian will not pose any threat to him for the rest of his life. This idiot. It seems that there is really no hope. However, this is a good thing for me. For the sake of our brothers, I will kindly help you when you are poor. Crown Prince William looked at Qin Tian with a hint of sympathy. Oscar, what are you thinking? You are the Prince of the German Empire, a direct member of the Hohenzollern family. Do you want the great Hohenzollern family and the German royal family to be ashamed of your actions? Question mark. You really let me down. Your brothers have all entered the military service, or are about to enter the military service. As a member of the German royal family, it is our destiny to die in battle for the benefit of the German Empire. But now, you are so cowardly, you have completely disgraced the German royal family. King William II roared angrily, and he even trembled with anger. He really couldn't bear it. There was such a person among his sons. Qin Tian opened his mouth to explain, but in the end he didn't say a word. He can't tell William II that, if Germany develops at this speed, no matter how it prepares for war, it will not be an opponent of Britain, France, the United States and other countries, and it will eventually be dragged to death. If he said this, he would definitely be regarded by William II as a lunatic talking nonsense. In addition, knowing the future development of history is also Qin Tian's biggest secret, and of course he will not reveal it. If it is known that Prince Oscar's body is already someone else's soul, God knows what William II will do. Maybe he will be killed directly. Oscar, get the asterisk out of your room. I don't care what you think. After a week, you have to go to Kiel Naval Academy to report. Even if you re a fool, you have to stay there for 4 years. During the period, without my permission, absolutely cannot return to the palace. William II issued an order angrily. Chapter 4. Unreasonable request. Qin Tian fled from William II's office in embarrassment. Under the fury of William II, he didn't dare to stay at all. He didn't want to further anger William II, as that would not do him any good. Once William II directly removed him from the Hohenzollern family in a fit of anger, he would be really miserable. At that time, he will not be able to get along in Germany or even the whole of Europe. A person who has been expelled from the royal family will become the object of criticism wherever he goes. Is it possible that I really want to go to Kiel Naval Academy for 4 years? In that case, wouldn't it be a waste of so much time? After returning to his room, Qin Tian was very unwilling. No, I have to think of other ways, Qin Tian said secretly. He began to use his brain to find a solution to the problem. The order from William II was for him to report to the Kiel Naval Academy within a week. And, without permission, you are not allowed to return to the palace. It can be seen how disappointed William II was with him. If Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen can open the door for me, even if I go to Kiel Naval Academy, I will have enough time to do my things. Of course, Qin Tian didn't need to think about how difficult it would be to get the old-fashioned Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen to open the back door for him. The Germans have originally civilized the world with rigidity. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen has been in the position of Dean of the Kiel Naval Academy for many years, and has trained a lot of talents for the German Navy. At the same time, it also won the trust of William II. It is not so difficult to make him bend the law for personal gain. No matter what, you have to try it. Otherwise, you will really spend 4 years in jail at the Kiel Naval Academy. Qin Tian made up his mind. Carol, buy 2 train tickets to Kiel. Qin Tian ordered. Okay, your royal highness. Karl von Jonnerud outside the door replied. At the same time, he also breathed a sigh of relief. The news that Qin Tian was reprimanded by William II and made William II furious has already been known to everyone in the palace. This also made Karl von Jonnerud feel a deep crisis. He who is close to Qin Tian, his fate is almost tied to Qin Tian. Once Qin Tian was disliked or even hated by King William II, he would not even think about having a good future. Fortunately, Qin Tian seems to have figured it out and wants to report to the Kiel Naval Academy. This made Karl von Jonnerud's heart, that had been hanging around, and he was finally able to put it back in his stomach. The transportation in Germany is very convenient, and the railway network is very dense. Almost every German city is connected by railway. In the era when there were no planes, taking the train was undoubtedly the most convenient way to travel. Relying on their status, Qin Tian and Karl easily got 2 first-class train tickets to Kiel. However, even the first-class carriages are far from comparable to the trains of later generations. But considering that this was more than 100 years ago, we can't force too much. Although it is only more than 300 kilometers from Potsdam to Kiel. However, at the speed of the current train, when Qin Tian and Karl got off the train at Kiel railway station, it was already night. Find a place to rest. We will visit Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen early tomorrow morning. Karl nodded and didn't say much. The two quickly found a nice hotel. Because of the exhaustion of the journey, I ate something and went to bed. However, Qin Tian, who was lying on the bed, couldn't fall asleep anyway. He needed to find a way to get Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen to open the back door for him. An hour later, Qin Tian finally thought of a solution. At this time, he fell asleep with a smile on his face. Early the next morning, Qin Tian and Carol rushed to Kiel Naval Academy after having breakfast. Kiel was originally a small city, and almost everything here was related to the Navy. There is not only the Naval Academy here, but also an important base of the German Navy. In the face of the threat of a powerful British Navy, the German Navy can be deployed in Kiel, which is relatively safe. Once something happens, you can go through the canal to Wilhelmshaven and enter the North Sea to fight. In addition, there are also Naval Shipyard and Germania Shipyard in Kiel, both of which are large shipyards capable of building battleships. After arriving at Kiel College and showing their IDs, Qin Tian and Carol were quickly taken to the office of Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen. His Royal Highness, welcome to the Kiel Naval Academy. Are you going to report officially? Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen asked. There was no trace of a smile on that old-fashioned face. Obviously, the news of Qin Tian's refusal to study at the Naval Academy had already reached his ears. In the eyes of Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen, Qin Tian has become synonymous with members of the royal family who are ignorant. If it wasn't for Qin Tian's identity, he wouldn't want to waste his tongue anymore. Yes, Your Excellency the Dean. However, I hope that Your Excellency the Dean can satisfy me with a small request. Although Qin Tian didn't know what Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was thinking. But in general, you can guess about 8 or 9. A request. Your Highness, please speak. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen frowned. Your Excellency, President, I hope that during the enrollment period at the Kiel Naval Academy, I will not have to participate in the daily study, but only come to take the exam at the end of the term. There is no time limit. After hearing Qin Tian's request, Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen's face suddenly turned dark, as if he was the bottom of the pot. As the cradle of German naval officers and generals, almost everyone who enters the Kiel Naval Academy is an elite. After everyone entered the Naval Academy, they all studied hard, so that they could serve the country after graduation. As the royal family of the German Empire, members of the Hohenzollern family should have set an example for the people of the whole country. However, now that Qin Tian made such an unreasonable request, this naturally made Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen very angry. At the same time, the eyes looking at Qin Tian were also full of contempt. Such a guy is simply not worthy of being a member of the Kiel Naval Academy. Carl, who came with Qin Tian, was also stunned, never expecting that Qin Tian would make such a request. Your Highness, you don't want to study at the Kiel Naval Academy. I'm not reluctant. To be honest, it was His Majesty's request to let Your Highness study. I can send a telegram to His Majesty immediately and ask him to take it back. Ludwig Dean S. Birkenhagen looked indifferent. Chapter 5. Donate a battleship. Your Excellency, Dean, please listen to my explanation. Qin Tian said hastily. If Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen sent a telegram to William II, wouldn't all his efforts be in vain? Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen looked at Qin Tian coldly. If it wasn't because of Qin Tian's identity, he wouldn't want to talk nonsense with them at all. Get out of Kiel Naval Academy, Your Excellency. Perhaps in your opinion, entering the Kiel Naval Academy for 4 years is a great improvement in a person's ability. However, in my opinion, this is a waste of 4 years. Is it possible? Am I going to stay here for 4 years, and after graduation, I will serve as a small second lieutenant? Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was trembling with anger at Qin Tian's remarks. His Royal Highness, shut up. If you don't want to join the Navy, I won't force it. But please don't insult the Navy. It is the countless little second lieutenants who graduated from the Kiel Naval Academy that support the German Navy. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was furious. I'm sorry, Dean. I made a slip of the tongue. Qin Tian quickly apologized. However, Your Excellency the Dean, with all due respect, although the German Navy is catching up, the gap with the British Navy has not only not narrowed, but has been continuously expanding. The British control most of the colonies in the world. It allows them to plunder wealth from the colonies unscrupulously, and then invest in the construction of the Navy. But what about Germany? Our geographic location necessitates a considerable investment in the army. This makes our investment in the navy far from being comparable to that of the British. If this continues, it is simply delusional for us to challenge the British Navy. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was silent for a while. As an old man who has worked in the Navy for decades, he can be said to have watched the German Navy develop from scratch and develop bit by bit. Naturally, I also know how big the gap between the German Navy and the British Navy is. Although William II's ambition to develop the Navy was limited by national strength and external factors, it was indeed very difficult for the German Navy to defeat the British Navy. Although our enemy is very powerful, however, the German Navy will never yield. We will grow stronger, and we will definitely be able to defeat the British in the future. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen said stubbornly. Qin Tian nodded. These generals, officers, and soldiers of the German Navy are all worthy of respect. It is precisely because of their continuous efforts that the German Navy has developed into the world's second largest navy after the British Navy in a short period of time. But, so what? In the end, the German Navy failed to defeat the British Navy. After Germany's defeat, all the warships of the German Navy sank. This made Germany no longer have a strong navy. Yes, Dean. I believe that with everyone's efforts, the German Navy will become stronger. However, it is still very difficult to defeat the British Navy. With the financial resources of the British, it is enough to form a double the suppression of capital ships. At that time, it will be easier said than done for us to defeat them. With the development of naval warships to the current level, the role luck can play in naval battles has become smaller and smaller. Qin Tian continued said. In the age of sail, luck played a big role in naval battles. However, when the Navy's capital ships have entered the era of ironclad giant ships, if you count on luck for victory, you will lose. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen nodded involuntarily. Although he didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that Qin Tian's analysis was on point. His Royal Highness, are you so pessimistic about the future of the German Navy that we will not be an opponent of the British? Dean Birkenhagen asked. Your Excellency the President, frankly speaking, if the Navy continues to develop at the current pace, it is impossible to defeat the British. And in future wars, the Navy will not be able to defeat the British Navy. This is for Germany, it is absolutely a disaster. At that time, our coastline will be blocked, the overseas trade line will be cut off by the British, and we will be surrounded by the enemy. Once the army cannot defeat the enemy quickly, the war will enter a stalemate at this stage. The final result of Germany may be to be dragged to death alive. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen, as well as Carol, were shocked. Obviously, they were all frightened by the scene Qin Tian described. They have great confidence in Germany, but they also have to admit that the enemy is very powerful, and all of what Qin Tian said is entirely possible. Your Highness, is there no chance for Germany? Carl's voice trembled a little. No, Germany still has a chance. If we can build more capital ships that can completely crush the British, then our navy can defeat them. As long as the navy can win, then in future wars, Germany will immediately invincible. Qin Tian said. However, the empire doesn't have that much money invested in the development of the navy. It's simply unrealistic to compete with the British in the number of capital ships. Dean Birkenhagen shook his head. It is true that we are not inferior to the British in terms of the performance of capital ships. However, if we want to compete in numbers, then we are still far behind. So, this is why I don't want to waste 4 years in the Naval Academy. Your Highness, what does this have to do with your reluctance to come to the Naval Academy to study? It is precisely because the gap between the German Navy and our enemy is so great that people like you are needed to join. Unknowingly, Dean Birkenhagen's hostility towards Qin Tian also dissipated a lot. In his opinion, since Qin Tian has these insights, he shouldn't be an ignorant person. Qin Tian shook his head. Your Excellency, the most critical factor restricting the development of the German Navy is nothing more than funds. If I can contribute more development funds to the German Navy through my own efforts, then it will be a great deal for the German Navy. For the Navy, it is undoubtedly more beneficial. Dean Birkenhagen couldn't help but frowned. Qin Tian's reason seemed too far-fetched or whimsical. Your Excellency, if I can promise to donate a battleship to the German Navy in the next 4 years, then, can Your Excellency agree to my previous request? Chapter 6. The Emperor's Disappointment. Donate a battleship? Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was stunned. That's a battleship. The cost of a battleship is as high as tens of millions of marks. Even the princes of the royal family can receive fixed dividends from the royal family's property income. However, it is impossible to support the construction of a battleship. Your Highness, are you joking? Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen had a serious expression on his face. With a staid personality, he thought that Qin Tian was simply whimsical, and he was writing a blank check in order to achieve his own goals. In the eyes of the Germans, the problem is undoubtedly very serious. Especially Qin Tian's identity is still the prince of the royal family. Your Excellency, Dean, I'm absolutely not joking. I know that with my current financial resources, it is absolutely impossible to build a battleship. However, I will use these 4 years to earn enough funds. Yes. I swear in the name of God, I'm very sober now, very serious, and I'm not talking big things. Qin Tian looked serious. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was silent. He didn't know where Qin Tian's confidence came from. Although, judging from his decades of life experience, it will be very difficult for Qin Tian to do all this. But Qin Tian's self-confidence made him feel that a miracle would really happen. Your Excellency, compared to a battleship, it doesn't matter whether I study at the Naval Academy or not. If I can fulfill my promise and produce one more battleship, it will undoubtedly be a great deal for the German Navy. It's a great thing. Even if I fail to fulfill my promise, the Naval Academy will not lose anything. Qin Tian saw that Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen was tempted and hurriedly continued. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen nodded, although he thought that the chances of Qin Tian being able to fulfill his promise were very small. However, once a miracle happens, it will be of great benefit to the German Navy. He also expected a miracle to happen. Even if Qin Tian was really bragging, it was just Qin Tian's self-willed depravity, and it had no other influence on the Naval Academy. Okay, Your Highness, I agree to your conditions. However, you must show me that you have the possibility to fulfill your promise within 2 years. Otherwise, you must return to the Naval Academy honestly, use the remaining 2 years to study all the courses. Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen said. In this case, even if Qin Tian is really bragging, there is still room for compensation. Okay, Your Excellency Dean. Qin Tian nodded. It was really not easy to get Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen to nod and open the back door for him. This made Qin Tian ecstatic. He had enough time to carry out his plan. Afterwards, Qin Tian and Carol bid farewell to Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen and left the Naval Academy. Standing by the window of the office, watching the two leave, Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen couldn't help muttering, "This prince is really a strange person. Is he a genius or a fool? What? If he can really donate a battleship to the German Navy within 4 years, then I will definitely be grateful for today's decision." However, Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen then informed Wilhelm II of what happened by telegram. He also informed William II of his disposal method. At the same time, asked Wilhelm II to forgive him for his self-assertion. From his heart, he still hopes that Qin Tian can fulfill his promise. After all, this is of great benefit to the German Navy and even Germany as a whole. Your Highness, do you really want to donate a battleship to the Navy within 4 years? Carol asked immediately after leaving the Naval Academy. As Qin Tian's close person, he knew how much property Qin Tian had. Although Qin Tian's personal wealth is undoubtedly a huge sum of money, but it is still too far away from building a battleship. He also didn't think it was a wise choice for Qin Tian to spend all his financial resources for 4 years of freedom. Don't worry, Carol, I have my own measure. Although, my current financial resources are far from being able to build a battleship, but I believe that it will be enough soon. From now on, we need to work hard to make money. Otherwise, I don't want to break my promise. Qin Tian didn't he feel too much pressure. However, if Qin Tian fails to fulfill his promise in the end, then he will definitely make Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen very dissatisfied. It will even offend the entire Navy. After all, isn't he fooling the Navy? As for William II, he will probably be completely disappointed with him. He even kicked him out of the Hohenzollern family in a rage. While Qin Tian and Carol were still taking the train back to Potsdam, Wilhelm II had already received a telegram from Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen. After reading the telegram, William II's brows were already tightly knit together. He personally dislikes those who only know how to talk big, but can't do things diligently. Undoubtedly, now Qin Tian has already been classified as this type of person by William II. Oscar is really going too far. Does he think that he is really a genius in business and everyone else is a fool? If money is really so easy to earn, wouldn't the people of the whole country go into business? William II said angrily. Your Majesty, His Royal Highness may want to give it a try. Dean Birkenhagen's handling method is very good. Even if His Royal Highness fails to fulfill his promise, he will have to obediently return to the Naval Academy in 2 years. And once the prince, if His Highness can succeed, it will be a great thing for the Navy and the entire empire. William II's steward, Essen von Jonerath, said on the sidelines. William II will not discriminate against businessmen. However, he still hopes that his sons will be able to join the army. It seems that only soldiers are real talents. Well, I want to see what tricks that little guy can come up with in the past few years. If the time comes, he can fulfill his promise. Then, he will no longer have the title of prince. He will also be removed from the Hohenzollern family, and will no longer have any interests. William II said with a cold face. Obviously, William II was very disappointed with Qin Tian, thinking that Qin Tian spent so much effort just because he didn't want to study at the Naval Academy and just wanted to have fun. Such a person is not worthy to be the Prince of the German Empire at all. Chapter 7, Money Making Plan. It was already night when Qin Tian and Carol returned to Potsdam. However, Qin Tian did not spend the night in the palace, but moved out of the palace immediately. He knew that the agreement he had reached with Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen would soon be known to Wilhelm II. It has even been known by William II. In order to avoid long nights and dreams, it is better to leave as soon as possible. Qin Tian left the palace with only simple luggage. Of course, he did not leave behind the most important passbook. Karl von Jonerath also chose to leave with Qin Tian. Although Qin Tian's plan seemed whimsical, Carol subconsciously believed that Qin Tian would succeed. Qin Tian and Carol went directly to Berlin. If you want to earn enough money, you have to go to a big city. The German royal family has its own fiefs and various industries. These fiefdoms and industries can obtain a large amount of income every year. Members of the royal family can obtain fixed income from it. As the Prince of the German Empire, Qin Tian certainly ranks low in succession. However, he earns a lot every year. Over the years, a considerable deposit has been accumulated. The number on the passbook is astonishingly 5 million marks. This money will be Qin Tian's startup capital. After arriving in Berlin, Qin Tian and Karl directly checked into a luxury hotel. Although it costs a lot, once Qin Tian's money-making plan is successful, it will be nothing at all. Your Highness, what exactly are you going to do? Earn at least 40 million marks in 4 years. This is not a small sum. Karl was a little worried. In the hotel room, Karl raised his doubts. Karl, have you really made up your mind to do it with me? We are very likely to fail. If we fail, I don't need to tell you the consequences. You should know the consequences. Qin Tian didn't answer immediately, but calmly looking at Karl, waiting for his answer. Of course, Your Highness. You are my best friend, and I believe you will succeed. Carol replied without thinking. Indeed, among the many princes in the palace, Qin Tian is considered the most unassuming person. This also made Carol, who was about the same age, very willing to get along with Qin Tian. It was also the reason why Qin Tian chose to serve Qin Tian, even though he was not outstanding among the many princes. Okay, Carol. Since you believe in me so much, I will definitely not let you down. I believe that in a short time, we will shock the entire German business community and high society. Qin Tian was full of confidence, and Carol seemed to be infected by Qin Tian. Karl, this is my plan. Please take a look. Qin Tian took out a few pieces of paper from his suitcase and handed it to Karl. The main content of this plan is to set up a company called the German Welfare Lottery to make profits by selling welfare lottery tickets. In this period, the lottery is nothing new. In Germany and throughout Europe, there are also a lot of lottery tickets sold in various countries. However, after investigation, Qin Tian found that the lottery during this period did not have many bonuses, and the gamma play was simple. Although there were many people who bought it, the market did not really take off. The lottery tickets that Qin Tian decided to sell were completely copied from the double color ball game of later generations. 33 red asterisk 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 and 16 blue balls. If you win 6 red asterisk 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 and 1 blue ball, you will win the first prize with a bonus of up to 5 million marks. The reason why Qin Tian chose the double color ball lottery is because the double color ball has a big prize and a lot of small prizes. As long as he chooses a blue ball, he can win. For lottery players, such lottery tickets are undoubtedly worth buying and pursuing. Judging from the popularity of the double color ball in China in later generations, Qin Tian has no doubt that once this lottery comes out, it will definitely cause a frenzy in the whole of Germany and even the whole of Europe. And the wealth earned through this must be an astronomical figure. Of course, Qin intends to sell it in Germany first, and then spread it to other countries, after gaining a firm foothold, trying to earn enough money before the war breaks out. Although there were only a few sheets of paper, it took Carol half an hour to read them. As the son of the Emperor's steward, Carol has also received a good education since he was a child, and he is also very smart. While looking at this plan, I was also speculating on the possibility of success. Your Highness, I have to admit that this lottery called Shuangxiqiu is much more powerful than the lottery tickets currently on the market, and it can completely crush them. Once it goes on sale, it will definitely be very popular. Carl also looked excited. He is only 2 years older than Qin Tian, and he will not be good at controlling his emotions like those old foxes. Carl, do you also think we can succeed? Of course, Your Royal Highness, we will succeed. There are more than 60 million people in Germany, and there are millions of people who buy lottery tickets. After the advent of double color balls, this market can even be made bigger. Although the taxation of the lottery industry is heavy, but after deducting taxes and costs, we will definitely be able to make a large profit. Carl is very sure of this. Qin Tian nodded in satisfaction. If the two-color ball can really sell well in Germany, let's not say too much, as long as each issue can earn 1 million marks. Then, 3 issues a week, 156 issues in a year, so that at least 200 million marks can be earned. To build a battleship, it only needs tens of millions of marks. Their annual profit is enough to build several battleships. However, Your Highness, once the sales are really hot, I'm afraid it will attract the attention of others. Carl reminded. Even though Qin Shi was the prince of the German Empire, he was nothing more than a prince who was not favored by William II. Once the sales of the German welfare lottery company established by Qin Tian are booming, and a lot of profits are made, it will definitely make other capitalists jealous. At that time, they will definitely use all kinds of methods to plunder Qin Tian's property. Qin Tian nodded. The plunder and expansion of capital is bloody. Once there are enough profits, those greedy guys will definitely go crazy. Therefore, Qin Tian must find a way to keep his wealth. He regards the sale of lottery tickets as an important pocketbook of his own. Many of his future businesses will need to rely on lottery sales to obtain a lot of money. Otherwise, everything will be empty talk. Shuangxiqiu lottery will be successful, it is beyond doubt. Then, what is before Qin Tian now is how to keep this gold mine. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. Sales are booming. Carl, this problem is actually not difficult to solve. After thinking about it, Qin Tian said. Carl looked at Qin Tian, wondering how to solve this problem. Carl, the company we will establish in the future will be called the Welfare Lottery Company. What is a welfare lottery? That is, part of the profits from the sale of lottery tickets will be allocated to the construction of social welfare undertakings. For example, providing food and medical subsidies for the poor, the orphanage provides financial support and so on. In this way, we will have a very high reputation in the society. If others want to attack us, they have to take into account the reaction of the society. Qin Tian said with a smile. Many times, social fame is also a talisman. After gaining a very high social reputation, many unapproachable means can no longer be used. Otherwise, it will cause strong repercussions from the whole society. Your Highness, this is a good idea. Carol nodded. In addition, the lottery market is a huge cake. Even if I'm a prince, I can't eat it. Therefore, I decided to give part of the profits to the royal family. In this way, the royal family will support it. Others, no matter how big they are, he has the guts to dare not touch us. Qin Tian continued. If he can, he certainly wants to swallow all the profits. However, his current body is still too small and too fragile to bear the pressure at all. The only way is to allocate part of the benefits, to preserve most of the benefits. In this case, it is better than being swallowed without even bones left. With the support of the royal family, there is also a very high social prestige, plus His Highness's own status. In the whole of Germany, there should be no one who would dare to think about us. Carol nodded again and again, thinking that Qin Tian was very considerate, comprehensive. Regarding the distribution of profits, Qin Tian planned like this. 20% of the profits are used for social welfare undertakings, 20% of the profits are contributed to the royal family, and the remaining 60% of the profits are for his own disposal. After all, if Qin Tian fulfilled his promise to donate battleships to the German Navy, the funds needed would not be a small amount. Well, let's do it like this. Tomorrow, we will go to register the company, find an office location, and start preparations. Within 3 months, our lottery tickets will officially go on sale. Qin Tian said. Although it took 3 months to prepare, the time is too short. However, time is urgent now, and he doesn't have that much time to prepare well. Your Highness, we can first promote it in North Germany. After we achieve success, it will be much easier to promote it to South Germany. Of course, we need to apply for a patent for this kind of gamma play. Otherwise, those guys counterfeiting will start soon. Cal gritted his teeth. Qin Tian nodded. Then we will apply for a patent after registering the company. This is all my savings, a total of 5 million marks, as the company's startup capital. If you save it, it should be enough. You will be the legal person of the company. I will give you 20% shares in the company. Qin Tian said. In his capacity, it is not suitable for him to become the legal person of the company. It was only fitting that Carol should come forward. Your Highness, it is my honor to be able to partner with you. What's more, this is a project that is guaranteed to make money without losing money. If I don't pay a penny and own so many shares, I won't feel at ease. This money, just treat it as my shareholding. Carl took out a check from his pocket. Qin Tian took it and saw that it was a check from Deutsche Commerzbank with a face value of 1 million marks. Carl, where did you get so much money? Your Highness, this is the startup capital my father gave me. Carl said with a smile. Haha, it seems His Excellency John Light is still very supportive of us. Qin Tian laughed. However, Carl, although you have 20% of the shares, you can only share 10% of the profits. After all, the other 40% of the shares are used for social welfare and contribution to the royal family. Of course, Your Highness, I can understand. I'm very satisfied to get a 10% profit. Carl said sincerely. He knew that even a 10% profit would be an astronomical figure. After all, according to Qin Tian's plan, the lottery will be drawn 3 times a week. After 1 year, this is an astronomical figure. The next day, Qin Tian and Carol went to register the company and started to apply for patents at the same time. The patents Qin Tian applied for are not limited to the two-color ball, but also include lottery tickets of later generations such as Big Lotto. As a prince, Qin Tian enjoyed a lot of preferential treatment when handling these affairs. Originally, it took a long time to handle it, but they all got it done within a week. Next, the company starts recruiting employees. At the same time, the preparatory work for the listing of the lottery began immediately. The lottery tickets were printed by Qin Tian and the others, who specially found a professional printing factory and specially designed anti-counterfeiting marks. Moreover, because lottery tickets are sold now, they are not networked nationwide like in later generations. Therefore, each lottery ticket is divided into two parts. The first part is held by the lottery player, and the second part is archived by the company after the lottery ticket is sold. Sales will stop 6 hours before the draw. All lottery tickets on file will be shipped to Berlin. Avoid collusion between inside and outside to defraud bonuses. To promote the lottery, Qin Tian placed a large number of advertisements in the major newspapers in Germany. The advertising words are also very tempting. Do you want to get rich overnight? Clay Shuang CQ. 5 million prizes are waiting for you. Although, a large number of advertisements made Qin Tian spend their funds like running water. A few million marks will soon bottom out. But at the same time, the intensive advertising bombardment made the lottery of Shuang CQ very popular, even before it started selling. All the lottery players in Germany are crazy because of the double color ball. Even those who don't usually buy lottery tickets were all attracted. In this era, not many people can resist the temptation of a bonus of 5 million marks. Once you really win the first prize, you will really become rich overnight. Time passed little by little. On November 18, 1904, the double color ball lottery of the German Welfare Lottery Company began to go on sale throughout Germany. Originally they were only going to be temporarily sold in North Germany. But the power of advertising was too great, and the southern German region was easily spread. Lottery sales outlets across the country has long queues since they opened for business. The sales of color **** are booming in an all-round way. Chapter 9. The First Bucket of Gold. At 8 p.m. on November 20th, under the witness of reporters from dozens of newspapers and the staff of the Berlin Notary Office, the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company issued the first batch of Shuang CQ Lieutenant General numbers. 6 red **** are 02, 09, 14, 17, 18, 31, and the blue ball number is 08. As the general manager of Deutsche Welfare Lottery, Karl von Johnereit announced in public that the staff of the lottery company will check all the lottery numbers immediately and strive to complete the preliminary check before tomorrow afternoon. Once someone wins the first prize, they will notify the major newspapers as soon as possible. The entire German lottery industry, and even the society, are also very concerned about the lottery of the double color ball. Everyone wants to know if there will be any lucky ones who will win the first prize. The bonus of 5 million marks, even after paying taxes, is still a lot left. This is an absolute fortune overnight. Your Highness, we have succeeded. Preliminary statistics show that more than 10 million lottery tickets have been sold this time. Karl looked excited. Each lottery ticket is 2 marks, although it is already a very high price. However, there are still not a few people who can afford to buy lottery tickets. This makes their lottery will have a huge market. Well, when the winning results are counted, we will know how much profit we can make. Qin Tian also looked forward to it. In order to count the winning lottery tickets, the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company specially recruited a professional statistical team of more than 200 people. Although, the salary expenses of these statisticians are not a small amount, but compared to the huge profits they made, it was nothing at all. In the era without computer networks, everything can only be done manually, which is also impossible. Your Highness, even if there is a first prize, our profit will exceed 2 million marks. Cole was confident about this. He invested 1 million marks in the company. If the profit this time exceeds 2 million marks, he can get 200,000 marks according to the profit share. It only takes 5 installments, and he will be able to recover all his investment. Qin Tian nodded. If he can make a profit of 2 million, he can get a profit of 1 million. In this way, there are tens of millions of income a month. Fulfilling his promise to build a battleship for the German Navy, that wouldn't be a big deal at all. Let our people speed up the statistics. Once there is a big prize, immediately notify all the newspapers and let them start the second wave of publicity. Let more people buy our lottery tickets. Qin Tian said. Although tens of millions of lottery tickets were sold in the first phase, he was not satisfied with it. The lottery market in Germany as a whole should be bigger than this. With the various advantages of Shuang CQ, they should be able to make the market bigger and earn more profits. Cal nodded. He knew that the ability to attract money from a lottery like Shuang CQ would be terrifying. Of course, this is not harmful to them, who would think that they earn too much money. Carl left immediately and personally sat in the review team to review the lottery tickets, strive to complete statistics, and calculate profits in the shortest possible time. The bonuses for the two-color asterisk sold by Qin Tian are all fixed. The first prize is 5 million marks, the second prize is 100,000 marks, the third prize is 3,000 marks, the fourth prize is 200 marks, the fifth prize is 10 marks, and the sixth prize is 5 marks. If after deducting various costs and bonuses this time, he can save a profit of 2 million marks, Qin Tian will already be very satisfied. After all, CQ has 3 sessions every week. At the same time, their lottery sales have only just begun. Once it is on the right track, more lottery players will inevitably buy it. At that time, they will be able to grow with their profits. Early the next morning, Carol reported the statistical results to Qin Tian with 2 dark circles under his eyes. Your Highness, the results have been calculated. There is a total of 1 first prize and 18 second prizes, including the following awards. The total prize money is almost 12 million. After deducting taxes and various costs, the profit is 2.12 million marks. Carl looked excited. Great job. This is definitely a good start. Immediately send the prize money to those betting outlets so that the winning lottery tickets can be easily redeemed. In addition, please report this matter to the newspapers we cooperate with. Qin Tian said. Okay, you're excited. The sales of our second lottery ticket will also start today. We have prepared 15 million lottery tickets before, and I don't know if it will be enough. It's too late for the printing factory to print more. However, 20 million lottery tickets can be prepared for the next issue. If the sales are good, we can further increase. As long as sales continue to boom, they can expand steadily step by step until the market is fully saturated. In this way, their profits will also be maximized. As the next step, you can start thinking about expanding to other countries. Dusseldorf, a coal mine was off work, and a large number of coal miners poured out of the factory gate. They were covered with soot, and all in black. Although Germany's industry is very developed, the life of the workers at the bottom is still very difficult. Hans is one of these coal miners. Hans, how about going for a drink tonight? Said a big miner. No, Lina and the child are still waiting for me at home. Hans shook his head. On the way home, passing by a lottery betting shop, Hans couldn't help being stunned for a moment, and then took out a crumpled lottery ticket from his bag. This was when the two-color ball was on sale, and he bought it when he passed by. Although 2 marks are already very expensive for Hans, but he still hoped that God would have mercy on him. After hesitating for a moment, Hans took the lottery ticket and walked towards the betting shop. At this moment, many people in betting stations are buying lottery tickets or claiming prizes. Excuse me, did I win the lottery ticket? Hans asked. The staff here is a young and beautiful woman. Looking at Hans's dirty body, she couldn't help frowning, but her professional quality still made her smile and accepted the lottery ticket. When the staff saw the numbers on the lottery ticket, their eyes widened. Oh my god. The headquarters is right. The grand prize is indeed sold at our betting shop. Sir, congratulations. You won the first prize and the last two-color ball. You will receive a pre-tax bonus of 5 million marks. The staff member said excitedly, as if he had won the big prize. What? He won the first prize? God. How lucky. The whole betting shop was boiling. Chapter 10. Crisis. Mr. Hans, this is your bonus. It's 5 million marks in total. However, you have to pay the tax yourself. Karl von Jonnereit, the general manager of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, with a smile on his face, a check was handed to Hans, who won the first prize. After determining the winner of the first prize, Cole rushed to Dusseldorf overnight, bringing a check for 5 million. At the same time, the news was notified to major newspapers. Now, in front of reporters from major newspapers, he gave the bonus to Hans in public. Thank you so much. Hans was a little at a loss. Right now, he seems to be in a dream. It never occurred to him that God would favor him and let him win the first prize. Even after paying taxes, there would still be 4 million marks left. For him, this is already a huge sum of money. With this money, he no longer needs to dig coal, and his wife and children no longer need to live in a small house. "Mr. Hans, how do you feel now?" a reporter asked with envious eyes. He envied this guy's good luck. Why didn't he win the lottery himself? If you have won the first prize, you don't have to work hard at all. I am very excited and happy. Thank God in the Deutsche Welfare Lottery. I'm a coal miner and my life is very difficult. However, my life will be completely different from now on. Hans is full of hope for his future life expected. My friends from the press, the purpose of our Deutsche Welfare Lottery is to give people the chance to change their destiny. Although 2 marks are not very cheap, most people can afford it. Use 2 marks in exchange for a chance to change your destiny is undoubtedly very cost effective. Once you win the first prize, your life will be fundamentally changed from now on. In addition, our company is also a company that gives back to the society. From each lottery among the proceeds, we will set aside a fixed portion for investment in social welfare undertakings to make the whole society better. Carol seized this opportunity to publicize their purpose to everyone. Although Carol is not very old, however, he behaved very maturely, without stage fright at all. Papa. The reporters and onlookers all burst into warm applause. A coal miner successfully won the first prize and received the news of 5 million marks, which was immediately reported by major newspapers. Of course, Qin Tian and the others also paid a lot of public relations fees for this. This makes the sales of double color **** become hot again. More and more people, eager to change their own destiny, have invested in lottery buying. Although, for ordinary people, 2 marks is not a small amount of money, but at the current salary level, there is no problem in saving a little. And this also makes the sales of double color **** rise again. By the 4th issue, sales had risen to 40 million marks. After deducting costs and bonuses, Qin Tian's income reached around 4 million marks. And among these profits, Qin Tian had a full 2 million marks. With these steady streams of income, it will undoubtedly be much easier for Qin Tian to realize his plan. The hot sale of double color **** naturally attracted the attention of many people. There are also many people who want to take this golden chicken that lays golden eggs into their pockets. However, they found that there was no way to start. Although Qin Tian was not favored by William II, he was the Prince of Germany after all. To start with, a prince's property is undoubtedly to provoke the royal family. If you don't have enough strength, you can't bear the anger of the royal family at all. In addition, the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company donates millions of marks to the Civil Affairs Department in Germany every week for social welfare undertakings, which makes the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company have an excellent reputation in the society. If you rashly attack the German Welfare Lottery Company, it will inevitably cause criticism in the society. However, even so, Qin Tian could feel that as the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company's ability to absorb money became stronger and stronger, those greedy guys would soon be unable to hold back. In a capitalist society like Germany, even the royal family would be afraid in front of these big capitalists. Carl, up to now, our lottery has been issued 6 times, and the total profit obtained has reached 10 million marks. After deducting the 2 million marks that have been donated to the Civil Affairs Department, there are still 8 million marks left. This 1 million mark belongs to you. Qin Tian handed a check for 1 million mark to Carol. Thank you, Your Highness. I never expected that we could recover the cost in just a dozen days. The next thing is pure profit. Carl smiled. Although he can only get 10% of the profits, he is already very satisfied. According to the current profit rate, he can get more than 2 million marks a month. Well, but we have made so much money, so naturally other people are jealous. Now, there are probably not a few capitalists who want to annex us. Qin Tian has a strong sense of crisis. Your Highness, can't your identity make them afraid? Carl's face suddenly became serious. In a short period of time, they should be able to hold them back. However, as we earn more and more money, they will soon be able to hold back. At that time, my status as an ordinary prince will not be frightening at all. Stop them. Qin Tian shook his head with a wry smile. Then what should we do? Carol also knows the blood of capital accumulation. For profit, those capitalists often do everything they can. Qin Tian's status as a prince really can't make those people scruples. If Qin Tian's status can go one step further and become the crown prince, maybe he can still make those people jealous. Carol, go to the palace, find your father, and ask him to give this check to my father. Our previous decision was to give 20% of the profits to the royal family. I hope my father can see it. For the sake of the money and our father-son bond, give us shelter. Cal nodded. Okay, your royal highness, I will go to Potsdam right away. Carol knew that, if the royal family could warn those greedy guys, they should give up their coveting of the German welfare lottery company. After all, after the reunification of Germany, the royal family's prestige in Germany can be said to be in full swing. Even those big capitalists dare not confront the royal family openly. Chapter 11, Emperor's Shock. Potsdam Palace. Kaiser Wilhelm II rubbed his aching eyes. Although, it's already 11 o'clock in the evening. But his government affairs are not yet finished. The imperial meeting has just ended, and the ministers have just left. The British and the French signed an agreement in which France promised not to interfere with British actions in Egypt. The British recognized Morocco as a French sphere of influence. But this undoubtedly violated Germany's colonial interests in Morocco. William II and the ministers were discussing a solution just now. With the British and the French getting closer, together with France and Russia, which had already come together, the encirclement of Germany had been formed. And this is undoubtedly extremely dangerous for Germany. Father, we must not compromise on the Morocco issue this time, otherwise, this will cause serious damage to the interests of the German Empire. Crown Prince William looked angry. Well, I see, I need to think about this matter again. William II said. Of course he was very angry at the actions of Britain and France that harmed Germany's interests. But at the same time, he also knows that, although Germany is very powerful, if it wants to go to war with Britain, France, and Russia at this time, Germany's chances of winning are not great, and it is even completely unprepared. Therefore, Germany must continue to endure. But William II worried that this would be a major blow to the patriotic enthusiasm of the people. Crown Prince William wanted to say something more. However, seeing that William II didn't want to continue this topic, he had no choice but to say nothing more. At this moment, Essen von Jonnereit, the royal family's steward, walked in. Essen, is there anything else? Your Majesty, His Highness Prince Oscar asked me to bring this to you. Essen von Jonnereit handed a check to William II. King William II took it and saw that it was a check with a face value of 2 million marks. Of course, for William II, who controlled the entire empire, this was nothing at all. What is this? William II couldn't help frowning. Qin Tian actually had someone bring him a check. What's going on, Your Majesty? His Royal Highness Prince Oscar and my son Carl, they jointly run a lottery sales company. His Royal Highness decided to donate 20% of the proceeds to the royal family free of charge. In addition, they will also give 2% of the profits use it for social welfare undertakings. Essen von Jonnereit approved with a look of approval. After all, Carol has shares in the German welfare lottery sales company and can share 10% of the profits. It now appears that this investment is simply too cost effective. 20% profit? William II didn't pay attention to Qin Tian at all during this period of time. In his heart, he was completely disappointed with Qin Tian and even planned to give up his son. Although Shuang Siqiu has become popular throughout Germany, for William II, it is still out of the question, and he has not paid attention to it. Yes, Your Majesty, Your Highness's company has very good income. The 2 million marks is just less than half a month's income. From now on, there should be 4 to 5 million income sharing every month. Right. Essen von Jonnereit continued. What? So many? Both William II and Crown Prince William were shocked. If it was only 2 million marks, they would naturally not take it to heart. However, if you can earn 4 to 5 million yuan every month in the future, then this is a huge sum of money that cannot be underestimated. After 1 year, there are a full 40 to 50 million marks. The cost of a battleship is no more than that. Mr. Jonnereit, are you right? Oscar and their lottery, are the profits so big? Crown Prince William looked disbelieving. At the same time, his heart was suddenly filled with jealousy towards Qin Tian. Even though he is the crown prince, he does not have much property, and the wealth in his hands is very limited. Now that Qin Tian actually has such a large property in a very short period of time, it naturally makes him feel very unbalanced. In a capitalist society, the role of money is undoubtedly greater. If you have money, many problems can be solved. If this wealth can be in his hands, then his status as crown prince will undoubtedly be further consolidated. Even if it is 4 million marks a month, it will be nearly 50 million marks in that year. This is only 20%. Then, Oscar's own profit is more than 100 million to nearly 200 million mark. This is a huge sum of money. William II sighed. Although, for William II, more than 100 million marks is nothing. However, for Germany's finances, this is undoubtedly a lot of money. Germany's annual fiscal revenue is only more than 900 million marks. No wonder that guy dared to ask Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen to donate a battleship in exchange for 4 years. If he has so much income, a battleship doesn't count at all. What? William II suddenly figured this out. He used to think that Qin Tian was whimsical, using such conditions to avoid going to college. But now it seems that Qin Tian simply has confidence in himself. With so many benefits, it is entirely possible to present a battleship to the German Navy. Moreover, this is of great benefit to the German Navy and Germany as a whole. Your Majesty, I have to admit that I was completely mistaken before. I didn't expect Prince Oscar to be a genius in business. He is only 16 years old now, and he can earn so much money. If you give him another period with time to develop, he may be able to become the most successful businessman in Germany and even the world. Essen von Jonerath expressed admiration. King William II nodded, although he did not agree with Qin Tian's business as a prince. However, if Qin Tian could really earn a huge amount of wealth, then it would be nothing. After all, this is a capitalist society, where money comes first. Wealth represents social status and power. Father, why does Oscar only contribute 20% of the profits to the royal family, and he himself takes 60% of it? If he still regards himself as a member of the royal family, he should contribute most of the profits to the royal family. For the royal family, it is enough to keep the small part. After all, our current financial pressure is very high. If we want to respond to the pressure from Britain, France, Russia and other countries, if we want to expand our military and prepare for war, we will undoubtedly need more funds. Crown Prince William jumping out, he said solemnly, as if Qin Tian had committed some heinous crime. Chapter 12, New Battleship. King William II glanced at Crown Prince William, expressionless. William II was somewhat dissatisfied with his crown prince. As the crown prince of the empire, but his mind is too narrow. There is no room for others. Even if you are jealous of your own younger brother, do you expect him to treat others well? Essen von Jonerath couldn't help feeling tense. Your Majesty, Carol also has 20% of the shares in His Highness's company and has obtained 10% of the income. The minister can donate this part of the income to the royal family for free. Carol von Jonerath said hastily, although giving up so much wealth made his heart feel like bleeding. However, in order to show his loyalty and to preserve his status, he had to say this. However, Essen von Jonerath was also very dissatisfied with Crown Prince William. In his opinion, Crown Prince William clearly said this on purpose out of jealousy. Essen, Oscar, and Karl, it is very rare to think of contributing 20% of the profits to the royal family. After all, this is their industry. As an example of the empire, how can the royal family make such a move to seize other people's property? What's the matter? However, for the sake of Oscar's filial piety, I will accept the 20% profit. Crown Prince William said indifferently. It is impossible to be indifferent to the huge profits of Qin Tian's German welfare lottery company. But Wilhelm II did not want the stigma of a man who took his own children's estate. What's more, the annual income of 50 million marks is already very good, which is already equivalent to a battleship. It is already a surprise to be able to obtain such a profit. Your Majesty is wise, Essen von Jonerath said hastily. Crown Prince William's face was blue and white. Crown Prince William's decision just now was undoubtedly a blow to him. Obviously, William II was very dissatisfied with his performance just now. But Crown Prince William didn't think it was his fault, but thought his proposal was very correct. Qin Tian is just an ordinary prince. Why do he need so much money? As the crown prince of the German Empire, it was time, when he needed money. If Qin Tian knew how to do it, he should donate the money to the royal family and himself. Of course, Crown Prince William can only bury such thoughts deeply in his heart and dare not express them. Otherwise, William II will definitely be more dissatisfied with him. Your Majesty, His Royal Highness Prince Oscar is worried that, after seeing the profits of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery, some greedy guys will do everything possible to plunder their company. Therefore, I hope that His Majesty can provide them with protection. Essen von Jonnerlet said. William II nodded. Of course he is very clear about the virtues of the capitalists in the country. I knew that kid would not share so much profit for nothing. However, for the sake of building one more battleship a year, the royal family came forward to help them solve those guys. William II said with a smile. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonnerlet breathed of relief. If the royal family came forward, those capitalists would naturally give them some face. In this case, the German Welfare Lottery Company will naturally be safe, and their profits will naturally be preserved. Essen, tell Oscar for me that at Christmas time, go back to the palace for a banquet. William II said. Now, his perception of Qin Tian has undergone a huge change. Before, he thought that Qin Tian was a who was ignorant and only wanted to have fun. But unexpectedly, Qin Tian still has a very high talent in business. In addition, Qin Tian was also very loyal to the royal family and the empire, which was undoubtedly what his father and the emperor wanted to see. As for the prohibition he issued earlier to prohibit Qin Tian from returning to the palace, he naturally forgot about it. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonnerlet nodded. Qin Tian was also very happy to be able to regain the attention of William II. After all, his son Carol and Qin Tian are almost tied together. After hearing this, Crown Prince William's face became even uglier, although he didn't think Qin Tian would pose any threat to his succession to the throne. However, this has already made him feel a little crisis. Although in European countries, there is very little change of inheritance rights, as long as the heir does not die young, or do some treasonous things. Otherwise, the inheritance rights are very stable. However, Crown Prince William didn't want his younger brother to perform better than his older brother. He believes that these younger brothers should be the green leaves of the foil. The royal family stated in private that the German Welfare Lottery Company is the royal family's property, which made countless capitalists staring at this piece of fat, after careful consideration, had to give up their coveted hearts. Although the German Welfare Lottery Company is very profitable, it is undoubtedly very unwise to carry it with the royal family for this. After getting this news, Qin Tian couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Now that the crisis has been resolved, he can use the huge profits made by the Deutsche Welfare Lottery to do other things. His plan can proceed in an orderly manner. Handed over the main business of the company to Carol, while Qin Tian locked himself in the office to perfect his ideal battleship shooting. After being reborn in this world, Qin Tian has already started research on related aspects. As a military enthusiast, Qin Tian collected a lot of weapon models, aircraft, tanks and warships in his previous life. Among the warships, there are not only battleships, but also aircraft carriers. In this era, the battleship is undoubtedly a well-deserved capital ship, just like the aircraft carrier of later generations. There are only a few countries in the world that have the ability to build battleships. Among them, the top countries are undoubtedly only the United Kingdom and Germany. Calculating the time, the British battleship Dreadnought, the design drawings should be completed and shot. Next year, it can be approved. Then the construction will be completed within 1 year. The service of this battleship will set off a revolution. All the old-fashioned battleships before will become obsolete due to the birth of the Dreadnought battleship. Among them, it naturally includes 4 Brandenburg-class battleships and 5 Kaiser-class battleships of the German Navy, Friedrich III-class battleships, 5 Wittelsbach-class battleships, 5 Brunswick-class battleships and 5 Deutschland-class battleships. Chapter 13, Christmas. Qin Tian spent a lot of time perfecting the blueprint of the battleship he designed, and it was not completely completed until Christmas Eve. What appeared on the blueprint was a mighty and majestic battleship, a battleship with a very different style from the existing battleships. The battleships of various countries before the battleship dreadnought of the British Navy generally had a displacement of only more than 10,000 tons, and the main guns were divided into two levels, namely, the first level large caliber main gun and the second level smaller caliber main gun. The fire rate of smaller caliber main guns is used to make up for the lack of firepower of large caliber main guns. However, starting from the battleship dreadnought, the battleship has entered the era of full heavy artillery. That is to say, the second level main gun was cancelled, and all the first level main guns were adopted, so as to further strengthen the strike capability of the battleship designed by Qin Tian is also the same full heavy artillery battleship. The shape is roughly the same as the Nassau-class battleship that the German Navy will build in the future. However, the number of main guns and deployment methods are different. The Nassau-class battleship of the German Navy has a total of 6 dual-mounted 280mm main guns, one on the front and rear decks, and the other 4 are deployed on both sides of the battleship. In this way, the 4 main guns of the Nassau-class battleship can be concentrated when firing to the side. The battleship shot by Qin Tian used 3 triple-mounted 305mm main guns instead of 6 double-mounted 280mm main guns. After all, Qin Tian, who is familiar with the development trend of later generations, knows that triple-mounted main guns are the trend. The main battleships in World War II all adopted this deployment. For example, the Yamato-class battleships of the Japanese Navy and the Iowa-class battleships of the US Navy are all like this. In addition, the use of triple-mounted main guns can also save space and length of the hull, which greatly improves the defense of the battleship. It is precisely because of this that the battleship Qin Tian shot, apart from having different main guns from the Nassau-class battleship, has even improved in terms of defense. In terms of power, Qin Tian did not use a coal-fired boiler, but an oil-fired boiler. The steam engine is also converted from a triple expansion reciprocating steam engine to a steam turbine. In this case, the speed of the battleship can be made faster. I hope William II will like this battleship. In this way, the German Navy will be able to crush the British directly after entering the dreadnought. Once the two sides go to war, the German Navy will have a better chance of winning. Qin Tian looked at the battleship on the drawing, murmured. Now that he has money, he wants to fulfill his promise and donate battleships to the German Navy, so Qin Tian naturally hopes to provide the German Navy with powerful battleships instead of the garbage like pre-dreadnoughts that he built more than 20 ships before. In addition, Qin Tian also hopes to use this to gain the attention of William II. After all, Wilhelm II was an emperor who liked the navy. If he can reuse Qin Tian, this will allow Qin Tian to gain greater power, and he will also have greater say in the royal family and state affairs. Maybe it could turn the fate of Germany around. If possible, Qin Tian would naturally not want to see the Second German Empire perish. When the empire was strong, he was the prince of the empire and had various privileges. And once the empire collapsed, he, the prince, would probably have to go into exile overseas. Even if it is rich, so what? It's not like it will become fat in the eyes of others. As for the right to inherit the throne, Qin Tian never thought about it, because he knew that, as long as Crown Prince William did not die, he would have no chance. Even if Crown Prince William died, he still had 3 older brothers waiting ahead. Time passed bit by bit, and the development of Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company was on the right track. Now, Chuang CQ has become the favorite lottery ticket for German lottery players. Especially the lucky one who won the first prize inspired others to put money into the lottery one after another. However, the winners of the first prize are, after all, very few. The vast majority of people are investing non-stop, winning a small prize at most. This also made Qin Tian's wallet keep bulging. With the support of the royal family, no one dares to play their minds. Qin Tian and Carol plan to explore foreign markets from next year. It is less than 10 years before the outbreak of the war. If more wealth can be plundered from other countries by issuing lottery tickets, this will also enhance Germany's strength in disguise. If there is an opportunity, Qin Tian certainly hopes to invest this wealth in military expansion and war preparations, so that Germany's military power will further reach its peak. Christmas is a very important festival for Westerners. It was also a day of reunion for the German royal family. In order to strengthen ties with all parties in the empire, Kaiser Wilhelm II will hold a banquet at the Imperial Palace in Potsdam on Christmas Eve. The royal families of the kingdoms of the Second German Empire, the Grand Duchies, the royal families of the principalities, senior government officials, the main generals of the military, celebrities and envoys of various countries stationed in Germany will be invited. Originally, Qin Tian thought that he would miss the dinner this time. However, I did not expect that some time ago, I learned from Carol that William II agreed with him to return to the palace. For Qin Tian, this was undoubtedly a pleasant surprise. Your Highness, I'm ready. When are we going? Carol asked excitedly. Although, in previous years, he also participated in the dinner party held by the palace. However, this time his identity and status are different. Previously he was nothing more than a servant in the palace. Now, he is a general manager of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, and his personal wealth has accumulated to 5 million marks. Well, I'm ready. Let's go. Qin Tian nodded, carrying a suitcase, and went out the door. Inside the suitcase are gifts Qin Tian prepared for his parents, brothers, and sisters. Now he is already considered a rich man, and during the holidays, naturally, his actions should not be too shabby. After the two went downstairs, they boarded the Mercedes-Benz that had been prepared earlier, and rushed all the way to Potsdam. Although, Mercedes-Benz cars have been on the market for many years. However, in Qin Tian's view, the current cars are too simple in terms of appearance and interior, and there is no comparison with the cars of later generations. Welfare lottery companies are constantly sucking in money. It's a waste to store so much money in the bank. Maybe we can consider the next investment direction. And the automobile field seems to be good. Qin Tian secretly thought. If you can design the beautiful cars of later generations, you will definitely be able to sell well. Qin Tian had no doubts about this. Chapter 14. Crown Prince's Difficulty. Carl, go see your father. I'll see you tonight. I'll go see the Queen and my brother and sister. Qin Tian said with a smile. Before the dinner, the royals get together. However, it is generally presided over by the Queen. Qin Tian's relationship with the Queen and other brothers was not harmonious. Most of the time, he, who has a relatively withdrawn personality, is the object of ridicule and oppression by others. Okay, Your Highness. However, I heard from my father that His Royal Highness is very dissatisfied with you, especially after our company started to make a lot of money. He has repeatedly asked His Majesty to take our company into the royal family, Carl said in a low voice. Qin Tian's complexion changed immediately. He had long known that Crown Prince William was a jealous and narrow-minded person. But I didn't expect that he would be targeted by him just after he emerged. Your Highness, Your Majesty did not listen to the slander of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. However, you still have to pay more attention. This time, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince will definitely make trouble. Carl said with some worry. Don't worry, although he is the Crown Prince, as long as he is not the Emperor of the German Empire, we don't need to be afraid of him. Qin Tian said with a serious face. Although Crown Prince William is distinguished, his status is also above that of many princes. However, the real power is not great. He only has the right to participate in every imperial meeting. Even if a suggestion is made, it may not be adopted. Besides, although the power of the German Emperor is not small, it is far from being comparable to the monarchs of Eastern China. As long as Qin Tian doesn't give the other party a handle, even if the other party becomes the emperor, there is nothing he can do about him. Big deal. When the time comes, just leave and leave Germany. As long as you have money, you can live well anywhere. Carl nodded and left. Qin Tian carried his suitcase and went straight to the garden of the palace. He knew that the royal family's gatherings have always been held here. When Qin Tian arrived, he found that the Queen, Crown Prince William, Prince Ethel Friedrich, Prince Albert, Prince August William, Prince Joachim and Princess Victoria Louise had all arrived. I'm sorry, Queen Mother, brothers, and sisters, I'm late. Qin Tian immediately apologized. Who doesn't know that Oscar is already famous as the big boss of the entire German Empire, so it's understandable to be late. A yin and yang voice sounded. Qin Tian didn't need to think about it, he just needed to listen to the voice to hear it. It was clearly the voice of Crown Prince William. The other princes watched all this with a smile on their faces. Of course, Prince Joachim and Princess Louise looked dazed because they were still young. Your Highness, the Crown Prince is just joking. I'm no more likely than His Royal Highness to inherit the entire empire in the future. I can only find my own way out as soon as possible. Otherwise, after His Highness the Crown Prince inherits the throne, if I'm not pleasing to the eye and kick me out of the palace, I will not know how to gain a foothold. Qin Tian said coldly. As the saying goes, money is a man's waste and his confidence. Now that Qin Tian has huge wealth as his backing, naturally he doesn't have to be afraid of Crown Prince William. Compared with him, Crown Prince William just had a better life, born a little earlier than they were all born. Otherwise, how could he have the right to be arrogant? Crown Prince William was immediately ashamed and angry. With his personality, he could definitely do what Qin Tian said. The faces of the other princes also became unnatural. Although they were very jealous of Qin Tian, when they thought about the character of Crown Prince William, they also knew that once Crown Prince William succeeded to the throne, their life would probably be very sad. Nonsense, how could I do such a thing? You are clearly framing me. Crown Prince William was furious. Okay, you are all brothers, so what's the point of being so noisy? The Queen said, dissatisfied. Crown Prince William and Qin Tian suddenly died down. Oscar, take your seat when you come. Today is Christmas Eve, and His Majesty is going to hold a dinner in the palace tonight. Let's get together as a family first, the Queen said. Although she is more partial to Crown Prince William, these are her children, and she naturally wants a bowl of water to be leveled. Qin Tian nodded and returned to his seat. However, Crown Prince William looked at him, obviously full of hatred. Qin Tian didn't care about this. The waiters kept delivering exquisite pastries and fine wines, and the family began to talk. With everyone's deliberate attention, the atmosphere is relatively harmonious. However, Qin Tian seemed a bit out of place, like an outsider. He sat alone in his place, drinking and eating. The dinner in the evening is mainly for communication. If you want to fill your stomach at a dinner party, it is simply impossible. Qin Tian doesn't want to make trouble, but it doesn't mean that trouble won't take the initiative to come to him. No, Crown Prince William is eyeing Qin Tian again. Oscar, the annual Christmas is here. What gift have you prepared for your mother? Our gift has already been given before, Crown Prince William said, while holding a wine glass. Suddenly, everyone's eyes fell on Qin Tian. Qin Tian glanced at Crown Prince William, stood up straight, and said to the Queen, Mother, how could I forget to prepare a gift for you? This is a necklace I carefully selected for you. I hope you like it. Qin Tian took out a dazzling necklace from the suitcase. The entire necklace is composed of 108 diamonds, and is of great value. Qin Tian spent 500,000 marks on this necklace. Women really like these things. When Qin Tian took out the diamond necklace, the eyes of the Queen and Princess Louise immediately focused on the necklace, and they couldn't leave it anymore. Oscar, you are such a good boy. The Queen smiled. Originally, he looked down on Qin Tian, but now there is a trace of love in his eyes. A beautiful diamond necklace made her view of Qin Tian fundamentally changed. Mother, this is what I should do. Brother Oscar, why is there only the mothers and not mine? Princess Louise pouted. Haha, how could you forget our lovely little Princess Louise? My brother picked out a necklace specially for you. Qin Tian laughed loudly and took out another necklace that was slightly smaller from the suitcase. Although the value is not as good as the necklace given to the Queen, it is also worth a lot. Thank you, brother Oscar. Princess Louise smiled happily. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15, Dinner. Crown Prince William looked at Qin Tian, almost bursting into flames. Originally, he wanted to cause trouble for Qin Tian, but he didn't expect to be easily resolved by Qin Tian, and even change the Queen's perception of Qin Tian. The other princes also looked at Qin Tian with some unkind eyes. Compared to princes like them, Qin Tian, who has a golden rooster in his hands, is several streets ahead of them, at least in terms of financial resources. HMPH. Some people get carried away with money and start spending money recklessly. It's really outrageous. Crown Prince William snorted coldly. Qin Tian was displeased, but he didn't speak back. After all, the Queen doesn't want a quarrel between their brothers. He didn't want to make the Queen's perception of his change fade away again with great difficulty. But when Crown Prince William saw Qin Tian ignoring him, he was even more furious and spoke more vigorously. The current German Empire is facing a huge crisis. Old enemies such as Britain and France are pressing us step by step. Expanding armaments, especially the development of the navy, requires a lot of money. Some people, as princes of the German Empire, enjoy the royal family has brought him all kinds of power, but he doesn't want to serve the empire. He only knows how to waste money, which is really abominable. Crown Prince William's face was full of righteousness, and he kept putting asterisk 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 on Qin Tian's head, not ruthlessly. If Qin Tian is trampled on the soles of his feet, he will never give up. His Royal Highness, I use the money I earn to buy my mother Christmas gifts. Is this wrong? How I want to spend my own money is naturally up to me, and no one else can give it to me. I make the decision. Even if His Royal Highness the Crown Prince becomes the Emperor of the Empire, I'm afraid that he does not have this power. Besides, you are only the Crown Prince, not the Emperor of the Empire. As for the reimbursement of the country, I will certainly not forget it. Soon, I will fulfill my promise and donate a battleship to the navy. As the Prince of the German Empire, I know my responsibilities and obligations. I don't need your highness to remind you of this. You should just manage yourself. In addition, you are blaming others. When the time comes, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince had better think about himself and what contribution he has made to the empire. Qin Tian didn't save any face for Crown Prince William and directly used sharp words, saying that Crown Prince William didn't even have a chance to refute. You. Crown Prince William blushed. His face was distorted because of too much anger, and he looked very scary. He never thought that Qin Tian, who had always been looked down upon by him, would dare to talk to him like this. When did this taciturn brother become so eloquent? In the end, the Queen spoke again to stop the quarrel between the two of them. However, even so, the atmosphere of the party has been greatly affected, and it is almost impossible to restore the harmonious atmosphere. This may be the sorrow of the royal family. As the princes get older and older, intrigues are inevitable for future power and interests. Even Crown Prince William's succession to the throne is relatively stable. However, he still spared no effort to suppress his younger brothers that they would not have the slightest threat to his throne. The party soon ended, and William II did not attend because of his busy schedule. Qin Tian was unable to meet William II, so he had to send the gift carefully prepared for William II to Carol's father. At 6:30 in the evening, the dinner was held in the banquet hall of the palace. Countless dignitaries and dignitaries attended this banquet. Qin Tian entered the banquet hall together with the Queen and the princes. The group of them immediately attracted everyone's attention. Of course, in the past Qin Tian was often a transparent person who was ignored by everyone. But now, with the success of the welfare lottery company, he is also getting a lot of attention. After all, in a country like Germany, money plays a very important role in many cases. Subsequently, William II also appeared in the banquet hall. Everyone, you are all the elites of the German Empire and the pillars of the country. In the past year, you have worked hard. It is because of your hard work that the German Empire can maintain rapid development. However, it is undeniable that even the Empire is getting stronger and stronger. But our voice cannot be heard by other countries, and our legitimate interest demands have not been understood by them. Our external environment is still very dangerous. Therefore, the German Empire needs to further. If we continue to grow stronger, other countries in the world will no longer dare to ignore the German Empire. Wilhelm II delivered a speech to everyone in a passionate tone. The elites of these empires have fiery eyes in their eyes. Indeed, Germany is already very strong now, and will continue to be strong. However, they also know that, if Germany wants to gain greater benefits in a highly competitive world, it must have stronger strength. However, the expressions on the faces of the diplomats from Britain, France, Russia and other countries in the banquet hall are rather ugly. Germany is getting stronger and stronger, which undoubtedly puts great pressure on them. Even when the pace of war has come, it makes them feel a huge crisis. Qin Tian watched all this silently. He knew that war was inevitable. Unless Germany can give up its external expansion, otherwise, countries such as Britain and France, as vested interests, will never sit back and watch Germany's expansion. In the end, it is still only through war that everything can be decided. After William II's speech, the dinner continued. The music started, and couples of men and women began to dance on the dance floor. More people were divided into small circles with one another and started talking. Banquets are originally the best place to expand your social circle and reach some agreements at the same time. Of course, for those noble ladies, this is undoubtedly a time for them to get involved with other men justifiably. "Hello, Your Highness." While Qin Tian was meditating, a voice sounded behind him. Qin Tian turned around and saw two old men standing behind him, holding wine glasses and looking at him with smiles. Qin Tian turned around and saw two old men standing behind him, holding wine glasses and looking at him with smiles. Tian knew these two old people, and one was the Dean of the Kiel Naval Academy, Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen. The other background is even bigger. He is the head of the German Navy, the German Minister of the Navy, Marshal Count Tirpitz. "Your Excellency Marshal, Your Excellency the Dean, hello." Qin Tian greeted respectfully. These two people are important figures in the Navy. In particular, Marshal Count Tirpitz was highly valued by William II. "Your Highness, thank you for your support of the Imperial Navy. The Imperial Navy will not forget this," Marshal Earl Tirpitz said with a smile. Chapter 16, Naval Friendship. Qin Tian was taken aback for a moment, but then he understood. Marshal Count Tirpitz was talking about his promise to donate a battleship to the Navy. "Your Excellency Marshal, this is what I should do. If Your Excellency the Dean hadn't agreed to my request, I would probably still be dawdling in the Naval Academy now, and I would never have achieved what I'm doing now." "Well, Your Royal Highness, I thought you were just fooling us because you didn't want to go to school. But now it seems that you can really fulfill your promise." Dean Ludwig Birkenhagen sighed. Although after talking with Qin Tian at the beginning, he decided that Qin Tian was not an ignorant guy. But he also believes that it is undoubtedly very difficult for Qin Tian to truly donate a battleship to the German Navy. After all, the cost of battleships is too high. Even with German finances, it is difficult to afford. But he never expected that Qin Tian could earn so much money in such a short period of time. Although everyone didn't know exactly how much money Qin Tian made, the only thing that was certain was that building a battleship would be a breeze. "Your Excellency, since I have already promised, of course I will fulfill it. Next year at the latest, I promise to donate the battleship to the Navy, and the construction can begin." Marshal Earl Tirpitz looked at Qin Tian with a hint of expectation. It seems that Prince Oscar's welfare lottery company has really made a huge fortune. Otherwise, he would not have promised to fulfill his promise without changing his face. The gap in the military expenditure of the Navy is getting bigger and bigger. It would be very difficult to compete with the British in the world. It would be great if Prince Oscar could donate more battleships to the Navy. Marshal Earl Tirpitz thought secretly. Obviously, he already regarded Qin Tian as a fat sheep and wanted to get more support from Qin Tian. Of course, he also knew it was difficult. Battleships are not Chinese cabbage. They are sold by the catty. A battleship costs tens of millions of marks. However, Marshal Earl Tirpitz decided to maintain a good relationship with Qin Tian. In this case, Qin Tian will probably not refuse if he needs to ask Qin Tian in the future. "Your Highness, Dean Birkenhagen mentioned that you have unique insights into the development of the Navy," Marshal Earl Tirpitz said. "Your Excellency, Marshal, it's not really an opinion, it's more about worrying about the German Navy." A trace of worry flashed in Qin Tian's eyes. "Can you talk about it in detail?" "Your Highness, we should have enough time tonight. Of course, it may be delayed for His Highness to dance with those noble ladies." Marshal Count Tirpitz smiled. "Your Excellency Marshal, I'm not interested in dancing. It is my honor to discuss with Your Excellency the Marshal." Qin Tian shook his head. Immediately, the three of them found a corner and started talking. Qin Tian also tried his best to tell Marshal Earl Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen what he knew. In this way, it might be able to help the German Navy. If this can be used to allow the German Navy To win the decisive battle at sea in the future, it will undoubtedly be the best result, Your Excellency the Marshal, Your Excellency the Dean. Although we have successively built, or are building the Brandenburg-class battleships, the Kaiser Friedrich III-class battleships, the Wiechsbach-class battleships, the Brunner-class battleships, Gramm-class battleships and German-class battleships, the total number of these battleships is as high as 24. Unfortunately, regardless of quantity or performance, we were unable to gain an overwhelming advantage in the face of the British Navy. German Imperial Navy. Although the quality of the officers and soldiers is very good, it is also difficult to compare with the British Navy that has dominated the world's oceans for hundreds of years. Therefore, once a war starts, it may be difficult for the German Navy to defeat the British. Earl Marshal Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen both looked unhappy. They also have a deep understanding of this, so they naturally know that Qin Tian is not just talking nonsense. The British Navy is too powerful. It is indeed very difficult to challenge them. However, now that the arrow is on the line, it has to be launched. The British have formed an alliance with France and are getting closer and closer to Russia. Once war starts, they will definitely become the first enemy. Marshal Earl Tirpitz said. Qin Tian nodded, and he agreed. If it is said that William II still had illusions about the British, then he, who traveled back from later generations, can undoubtedly be sure that the British are determined to be enemies of Germany. Of course, William II hoped to make the German Navy stronger, not really wanting to go to war with Britain. Instead, it is hoped that by virtue of its strong sea power, the British will surrender and achieve the goal of winning without a fight. But it turned out that William II was too stupid and naive. How could the British give up resistance when it was a matter of national interest? Once Germany wins the war and takes control of the European continent, even if Britain is alone abroad, it may not be able to survive alone. Your Highness, do you have any good ideas about this? Dean Birkenhagen asked. The future war is very important. If Germany loses, the consequences will be disastrous. A strong German empire will no longer exist. Therefore, we must do our best to win this war. In my opinion, the key to winning this war lies in the Navy. Only when the Navy defeats the British Navy and lifts the British Navy's naval blockade against Germany, can we continuously obtain the materials needed for the war through overseas trade. In this case, we can hold on. Qin Tian said. In the First World War Germany was dragged to death, which is undoubtedly a pity. Your Highness, we can solve this problem by storing enough war supplies before the war. Marshal Earl Tirpitz frowned. Qin Tian smiled. The high-ranking Germans in this period undoubtedly believed that once a war broke out, it would only last for a few hours at most. Just like the Franco-Prussian War back then, they won quickly. They also didn't realize how cruel this war was and how long it would last. This directly led to the fact that after the war broke out, they discovered that their preparations were not sufficient at all. Your preparations were not sufficient at all. Excellency Marshal, Your Excellency the Dean. I think that once the war breaks out, it will be a war that is more brutal than any previous war. Moreover, it will last for a long time. If we only rely on the pre-war reserves, we will not be able to. It is impossible to reserve enough war supplies. Therefore, the most important thing is for the Navy to defeat the British and break the British naval blockade. Qin Tian said with certainty. Chapter 17, Emperor's Comfort. It seems that the responsibility of the Navy is greater than we imagined. Marshal Earl Tirpitz sighed. That's true, Your Excellency Marshal. But it's a pity that even with the support of His Majesty the Emperor, we still can't get enough funds. Dean Birkenhagen also sighed. His Royal Highness, thank you for your help to the Navy. I have to say that having one more battleship will make our Navy stronger. Maybe we will have a chance to defeat the British. Turpy Marshal Earl Z said. Although, this chance is very slim. But as the generals of the German Imperial Navy, they still have to face the difficulties and strive for victory in future wars. Your Excellency, Marshal, it is actually not impossible to defeat the British. Qin Tian said. Marshal Earl Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen's eyes suddenly brightened. Your Highness, is there anything I can do? There was a trace of expectation in the eyes of both of them. If the Navy wants to defeat the British, it is impossible to compete with them in the number of capital ships. it can only be stronger than the British in terms of performance. Every class of battleship we will build in the future must be able to suppress the British human battleships. Only in this way can we defeat the many with the few, and defeat the strong with the weak, Qin Tian said. The brows of Marshal Count Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen were already tightly knit together. It is unrealistic to compete with the rich and powerful British in the number of battleships. However, it may also be very difficult to completely suppress the British in terms of performance. Your Excellency Marshal, Your Excellency the President. The battleship I donated to the Navy this time will be a brand new battleship, an epoch-making battleship. Once it is completed, the battleships built before will probably be swept into the garbage dump. Qin Tian, a look of confidence. The British relied on the dreadnought ship to make the competitors' large number of former dreadnought ships obsolete overnight, allowing the British Navy to continue to maintain an absolute advantage. If the German Navy can build a dreadnought ship first, it will continue to improve in the future and build a more powerful dreadnought ship. Then, this will make the British Navy no worse than the British Navy in terms of cutting-edge capital ships. Even if there is some gap, it will not be too big. If you count the weaknesses of the British Navy's battleships themselves, such as thin skin and large stuffing, there are also problems with shells. In the decisive naval battle between the two sides, the possibility of the German Navy winning is undoubtedly still very high. Marshal Count Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen were immediately shocked by what Qin Tian said. If it was someone else, they would definitely think that the other party was talking nonsense. But Qin Tian is different. Qin Tian is good at creating miracles. What they originally thought was impossible, but Qin Tian managed it. Your Highness, are you serious? Earl Tirpitz's voice trembled a little. If what Qin Tian said is true, then the German Navy may really have a chance to defeat the British. This is undoubtedly a hope for the German Navy. Of course, Your Excellency Marshal, I won't be joking. Qin Tian looked serious. He knew that it would be very difficult to persuade those stubborn and conservative guys in the German Navy to build a full heavy artillery battleship. But if the support of Marshal Earl Tirpitz can be obtained first, it will undoubtedly be relatively simple. Your Highness, can you show me the design drawings? Marshal Earl Tirpitz said excitedly. Dean Birkenhagen was also very excited. Your Excellency Marshal, Your Excellency the Dean, this time is not suitable. After today, let's find another time. Qin Tian said with a smile. Although they felt itchy, Marshal Count Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen could only nod their heads to express their understanding. When Qin Tian wanted to have a good talk with Marshal Count Tirpitz and Dean Birkenhagen, a hostile gaze was looking at them. The owner of this gaze is none other than Crown Prince William. What exactly does Oscar want to do? Is he going to make friends with the Navy? Crown Prince William was almost trembling with anger. As the first Crown Prince of Germany and the future Emperor of the Empire, he certainly knows how important it is to have military power. Qin Tian made friends with the Navy, which undoubtedly touched his bottom line. Although he is the legitimate Crown Prince of the Empire, if Qin Tian has the support of the military, wouldn't it be possible to launch a coup and drive him out of power? Such consequences were not what Crown Prince William hoped for. No matter what, it is absolutely impossible to let that kid succeed. There is only one Crown Prince of the German Empire, and that is me. Others don't want to take the throne from me. A murderous intent flashed in Crown Prince William's eyes. Although they are all brothers of the same mother, it has never been a new thing for brothers to kill each other in order to inherit the throne. The dinner party lasted until midnight. However, William II did not stay long. He pretty much just made an appearance, clinked glasses with some important people a few times, and left. As the Emperor of the Empire, he is undoubtedly very busy. Even if it is Christmas Eve today, he still has endless business affairs to deal with. Sitting in his office, William II saw a long box on the table. "Essen, what is this?" William II asked. "Your Majesty, this is a Christmas gift from His Royal Highness Prince Oscar," Essen von Jonalid replied. King William II couldn't help but shook his head. This guy, even if he made money, he shouldn't waste it like this. Still, Wilhelm II opened the long box. He found that he seemed to be wrong. What was inside was not some exquisite gems or valuables, but a piece of paper. However, what was drawn on this paper made William II's eyes widen. "This, where did Oscar find this?" William II asked. Your Antique Majesty, I heard from Carol that this was drawn by His Highness the Prince himself. During this time, His Highness has been shutting himself in the office and drawing the picture himself. Essen said. William II couldn't help being stunned for a moment, and then his face was overjoyed. I didn't expect that guy. Apart from being very talented in business, he was also so talented in the design of warships. Let me just say, a son of the royal family, how can you be so talented? Maybe it's an uneducated guy? Obviously, Qin Tian's performance has greatly changed William II's perception of him. Of course, this also pleased William II. As a father, of course, he hopes that his sons will be successful. Even Wilhelm II was the emperor, and it was no exception at this point. Chapter 18, Shock. What was placed in front of William II was the exterior drawing of the new battleship drawn by Qin Tian. This new battleship, although still on paper, however, the shock brought to William II was not lacking at all. Although William II was not from the Navy, it was with his support that the German Navy began to develop rapidly. This makes William II considered half an expert. The battleship designed by Oscar is different from the previous battleships. The secondary main guns are cancelled, and all heavy guns are used, and they are still triple-mounted main guns. William II frowned. The battleships that the German Navy has built and is under construction all have main guns of 2 calibers. Moreover, they are basically dual-mounted main guns, and triple-mounted main guns have never been tried. For the German Navy, full heavy artillery and triple-mounted main guns are new things. Not to mention that the power used by this battleship is still a combination of heavy oil boilers and steam turbines. The German Navy has also not tried this. However, William II saw the uniqueness of this battleship. This type of battleship seems to be more powerful than the existing battleships. Once it is built and put into service, it will be of great benefit to the improvement of the German Navy's strength. Wilhelm II murmured. Of course, these technical difficulties are not so easy to overcome. But this does not prevent William II from being able to see the advanced nature of this new type of battleship. He has a vague feeling that such battleships are the trend of future battleship development. Essen, check to see if Marshal Earl Tirpitz is still there. If he is, let him come to see me right away. William II hesitated for a moment before making up his mind. If this kind of battleship is to be built, it must be approved by the Marshal Earl Tirpitz. Of course, William II also wanted to know from Marshal Earl Tirpitz whether construction of this type of battleship could start and whether they had the technical conditions to build it. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonelid immediately went to find someone. 10 minutes later, Marshal Earl Tirpitz came to William II's office. Your Majesty, you are too busy for the Empire. You don't even have time to attend the Christmas dinner. Count Tirpitz greeted Marshal as soon as he met him. William II waved his hand, but he was very pleased. Now is the time when the Empire is facing a huge crisis. I have to devote all my energy to state affairs, banquets and the like. After defeating our enemies, there will be plenty of time. Your Majesty is wise. Marshal Earl Tirpitz praised. Your Excellency. Marshal, take a look. This is a Christmas present from Oscar. It is said that this is a battleship designed by him himself. It is an unprecedented new type of battleship that is different from all our previous battleships. William II proudly said. If Qin Tian's design proves to be successful, isn't it superficial that Qin Tian is also a genius in battleship design? This naturally made William II's face bright. It is undoubtedly a surprise that his son, who he has always looked down upon, has such great talent. A new type of battleship designed by Prince Oscar. Marshal Earl Tirpitz's eyes lit up. If he still sneered at Qin Tian before, then after the conversation at the dinner party, his perception of Qin Tian has fundamentally changed. Marshal Count Tirpitz immediately came to the desk. When he saw the blueprint of the battleship on the desk, he was also shocked. 3. Triple-mounted main guns, cancelled the secondary main guns, and cancelled the collision angle of the bow and the torpedo tube. The layout of the hull is more compact. Marshal Earl Tirpitz saw it all at once. The difference of this new type of battleship. King William II nodded. That's not all. In the notes, Oscar also thinks that this kind of battleship should use a combination of heavy oil boiler and steam turbine to increase the speed of the battleship to more than 21 knots, heavy, oil boilers and steam turbines. Although we have research in this area, we have not achieved much results, especially steam turbines, except for the British who have experience in using them on large warships. Other countries have no such research experience. Marshal Count Tirpitz frowned. Your Excellency, Marshal, is this new type of battleship much more advanced than the existing battleships? William II asked. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded. The layout of all heavy artillery is indeed refreshing. However, secondary main guns are still very important in naval battles. The Sino-Japanese naval battle of the Sino-Japanese War undoubtedly proved this point. All heavy artillery. As for the artillery, I'm afraid that the firepower of the battleship cannot be guaranteed. That such a naval battle has not yet begun, and the development of battleships by various navies is still in the groping stage. Even the British dare not assert the development direction of the navy. Before the dreadnoughts, they also built a large number of pre-dreadnoughts equipped with secondary main guns. As for heavy oil boilers and steam turbines, although we still have technical bottlenecks in this area, however, we can completely replace them with coal-fired boilers and triple expansion reciprocating steam engines. At most, this will affect the speed of the battleship to a certain extent. Marshal Count Tirpitz continued. King William II nodded lightly. Why does Oscar think that battleships with all heavy artillery are the future development direction? Your Majesty, this may be His Highness's own opinion. At the dinner, His Highness and I also chatted for a long time. I have to admit that His Highness has a very clear understanding of the future international situation and the development direction of the Navy. I know he is even more foresighted than many high-level officials in the Empire. Perhaps, this time, his proposition is really right. Marshal Earl Tirpitz praised. Wilhelm II was taken aback for a moment, and he did not expect that Marshal Earl Tirpitz would be so optimistic about Qin Tian. Essen, go find Oscar. I want to ask him what he thinks. William II ordered. Your Majesty, I'm afraid His Highness the Prince is no longer in the banquet hall. Not long after our conversation ended, he left. He doesn't seem to like such an occasion. This is unique among the princes and even the younger generation. There are very few people who can endure loneliness like this. King William II was taken back for a moment, and then said, even if he has already fallen asleep, wake him up. Yes, Your Majesty. Essen von Jonnelet nodded, and immediately sent someone to find Qin Tian. Chapter 19. Persuade. Qin Tian appeared in William II's office with sleepy eyes. For him, attending a banquet might as well go back to sleep. Anyway, he is not that kind of popular person. The banquet is really too boring for him. Essen, prepare a cup of coffee for Oscar. Seeing Oscar's tired face, William II suddenly regretted waking him up so late. Even though he is the emperor, he still loves his son very much. Your Highness, the banquet is at its climax, but you left. This is undoubtedly a loss. For young people of your age, it is time to enjoy the banquet, so don't act like you are just like an old man. Marshal Count Tirpitz smiled. Marshal, I am not used to such an occasion. I feel a bit out of place, so I might as well go back to sleep. Qin Tian shook his head. Oscar, this is not acceptable. Relationships are very important. Banquets are the best place to establish and expand your relationships. You still have a long life in the future, and you need to build your own network of relationships. Taught William II. Yes, father. Qin Tian nodded. He knew that William II was doing it for his own good. Your Highness, this is your coffee. Essen von Jonnelet brought Qin Tian a cup of coffee. Thank you. Qin Tian took the coffee. After drinking a strong cup of coffee, Qin Tian's spirit improved a lot. Okay, Oscar, let's talk about business now. I'm very satisfied with the Christmas gift you gave me. However, Your Excellency the Marshal and I have deep doubts about this, and I hope you can clear it up for us. William II said. Father, if you like it, that's the best. That battleship is my guess about the future development of the Navy's capital ships. Qin Tian was very humble. Your Highness, the battleship you designed is very good. However, it is very different from the current mainstream battleships. Why do you think that the layout of all heavy artillery will become a development trend? Marshal Count Tirpitz asked. Your Excellency Marshal, As the range of artillery continues to increase, its power is also increasing. This shows that long-distance combat will become the norm in naval warfare. Once the combat distance is generally 10 kilometers or more, except for large caliber main guns can threaten the opponent, while small caliber main guns cannot pose a threat to the enemy at all. It can be said that this is the inevitable development of the Navy's capital ship. Although Qin Tian's point of view has not been confirmed, both William II and Marshal Count Tirpitz silently repeatedly, based on the information they have, they naturally know that what Qin Tian said is true. Your Majesty, according to the latest information obtained by the Navy, the British are launching the design of the latest battleship. That battleship is also called an epoch-making advanced battleship, Marshal Count Tirpitz said. William II's expression couldn't help becoming more serious. The British already have a great sea advantage. If their next level battleships are ahead of us again, it will be even more difficult to suppress them. William II was also worried about this. Although William II was a bit headstrong and conceited, he didn't think that the German Navy would have a chance of winning against the British Navy. Father, Your Excellency the Marshal, the next level of battleship designed by the British should also be a battleship with all heavy artillery. We can no longer be led by them. Otherwise, this will make the gap between us even bigger. Qin Tian said. Oscar, is this true? Where did you get the news? William II asked. Father, this is my guess. However, I think it is very possible. Qin Tian wanted to say that the British would definitely build a battleship with all heavy artillery. However, he didn't have enough evidence to prove his words, so he couldn't directly tell William II that he traveled back from later generations. That's what the British did in history. In that case, William II will definitely not let him go. King William II nodded. In his eyes, Qin Tian was just a 16-year-old child. It was already a rare thing to be able to guess this point. Your Excellency, Marshal, try your best to find out the situation of the latest British battleship. Once confirmed, the Empire can no longer lag behind them. William II said. Yes, Your Majesty. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded. Your Highness, why do you advocate the use of oil-fired boilers and steam turbines on new battleships? Germany is a country that is extremely short of oil, but we do not lack coal. If coal-fired boilers are used, it is more suitable for our national conditions. In addition, in the development of steam turbines has not made much progress. We seriously lack the experience of using steam turbines on large warships. If it is used directly on battleships, many problems may arise. If a triple expansion reciprocating steam engine is used, there is no such problem. After all, we have very mature technology in this area, Tirpitz said. Qin Tian shook his head. Your Majesty, heavy oil boilers have better performance than coal-fired boilers. At the same time, the storage of fuel oil is easier and more convenient than coal-fired. Using heavy oil boilers can make our warships have more power, longer voyage. Compared with the 3-expansion reciprocating steam engine, the steam turbine has more power, which can make the battleship have a faster speed. The advantage of speed in naval battles is becoming more and more important. In the unfavorable battle under certain circumstances, we can use our speed advantage to quickly withdraw from the battle and preserve our strength. If the battle is favorable and the enemy flees, our warships will be able to catch up with them. You know, the British Navy attaches great importance to the speed of battleships. Although we know breakthrough has been made in the development of steam turbines. However, we still have time. It takes about 2 years for a battleship to be launched from construction to launch. If 2 years are dedicated to breaking through this point, there should be no major problems of. As for the main gun of the battleship, I use a 305mm main gun. I don't need to say more about it. The larger the caliber, the longer the range and the greater the power. The main gun will have a greater advantage. Qin Tian continued. Marshal, what do you think of Oscar's proposal? William II asked. Your Majesty, His Royal Highness's suggestion is very good. However, we need to make breakthroughs in these aspects. Marshal Earl Tirpitz frowned. Chapter 20, Demonstration Assembly. Qin Tian talked with William II and Marshal Count Tirpitz until 2 o'clock in the morning. Although, both William II and Marshal Count Tirpitz approved of Qin Tian's design, but it is somewhat impossible for them to immediately make up their minds. to build the battleship designed by Qin Tian. The construction of battleships is no child's play. The construction of each battleship takes 2 or 3 years. Of course, it took a year for the battleship HMS Dreadnought of the British Navy from the start of construction to the launch. If you count the time for outfitting and sea trials, by the time it entered service, it had already taken 2 years. Therefore, before the construction of the battleship starts, it must be fully demonstrated. Make sure everything is safe, and avoid all kinds of problems after starting work. In that case, it will undoubtedly be very troublesome to solve those problems. Especially, Germany's military spending on naval development is already very limited. Once a problem occurs, it will be a heavy blow to the German Navy. This will make the gap between them and the British Navy even wider. Therefore, both William II and Marshal Count Tirpitz had to be cautious. It seems that the demonstration meeting tomorrow afternoon will not be easy. I don't know what the old antiques of the Naval Technical Committee will choose. Qin Tian muttered a few words before falling into a deep sleep. That's right, Wilhelm II decided that the Naval Technical Committee will demonstrate Qin Tian's design plan so as to decide whether to start the construction of the battleship designed by Qin Tian. However, those members of the Naval Technical Committee were known for their rigidity, and it was undoubtedly very difficult for them to accept new things, especially the new battleship designed by Qin Tian, a boy who had just turned 16. If Qin Tian's design was chosen, wouldn't that prove that the experts in the Navy are all useless? They can't afford to lose face. Although, the next day is Christmas. But it is about the next level of battleship of the Navy, which is undoubtedly very important for the German Navy. Therefore, the senior officials of the Naval Technical Committee have been notified. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they all gathered in the conference room of the Naval Technical Committee. It can be said that whether the battleship designed by Qin Tian can become a reality depends on the decisions of these people. Of course, as a designer, Qin Tian will also attend this demonstration to explain his design philosophy to these experts and convince them. Chairman of the Naval Technical Committee, Count von Warren, sat on the main seat. In addition, Sir Dietrich, Director of Naval Shipbuilding, Commodore Gersert, Naval Weapons Expert, Bruckner Chief Engineer of the Naval Technical Committee, Erich Dawson, Naval Warship Designer, and Admiral Mueller, Chief of Naval Cabinet, were also seated. Your Excellency, why are Your Majesty and Your Excellency the Marshal so hasty this time? Let us argue about a battleship designed by a teenager. When can a battleship be designed by a teenager? In that case, we will still be used. What are you doing here? Grumbled Sir Dietrich. As the oldest shipbuilding director of the German Navy and the best naval engineer, he has his own pride and thinks that this demonstration conference is pure nonsense. What's more, it's still Christmas. They can't reunite with their families. Instead they have to waste time here, so they naturally have big opinions in their hearts. Yes, Your Excellency. Prince Oscar is only 16 years old. At this age, he should be studying in school, designing battleships. Isn't that a joke? What's more, I heard that His Royal Highness is very happy he is stubborn, and tried every means to avoid going to Kiel Naval Academy to study. Can such a person design any amazing battleship? I'm skeptical about this. Bruckner, the chief engineer of the Naval Technical Committee, is also a face of contempt. Okay, everyone, Prince Oscar may be a genius, Count von Warren said. As the chairman of the Naval Technical Committee, he has always adhered to the fact that the German Navy should be cautious in the process of development and try to be as foolproof as possible. Because once their decision is wrong, it will bring huge losses to the German Navy. Now Wilhelm II and Marshal Earl Tirpitz asked them to demonstrate the battleship designed by Qin Tian. Earl von Warren had already made up his mind to uphold strict standards and would never let this design pass easily. Your Excellency, Prince Oscar is indeed a genius. However, he is a genius in business, not in shipbuilding. Naval warship designer Erich Dawson also said. Of course, there was a hint of teasing in his tone. In the eyes of these technical experts, Qin Tian's welfare lottery company is nothing more than an opportunistic company. Even if it makes a huge fortune, what's the point? Okay, everyone shut up, and the demonstration meeting will start in 5 minutes. Admiral Mueller, the chief of the Navy cabinet, reminded. Even though Qin Tian and the others hadn't come yet, but talking about royals behind their backs is always bad. 2 minutes later, a group of people entered the meeting room, headed by Crown Prince William. William II was busy with affairs today, so he did not attend this demonstration meeting in person. However, in order to show that he attached great importance to this argument, he still sent Crown Prince William as his representative, followed by Marshal Count Tirpitz as the head of the German Navy. It is related to such a major event as the next level battleship of the German Navy. Of course he will be present. Prince Heinrich, commander of the High Seas Fleet, is also here. He is the younger brother of Kaiser Wilhelm II. He has been serving in the German Navy and has a huge influence in the German Navy. Almost all the battleships built by the German Navy were handed over to the High Seas Fleet. Therefore, he has a say in the capital ships of the next level. The one who walked last was Qin Tian. He didn't expect that there would be such a big fight. Originally, in his opinion, as long as William II and Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded, wouldn't everything be settled? But now it seems that it is not as simple as he thought. To convince those old antiques, Qin Tian also felt great pressure. After all, he is too young now. Even going to college is just a name in the Naval Academy. It is undoubtedly very difficult to convince these experts of him. However, Qin Tian has already made up his mind. Even if the argument fails, he will insist on building. Big deal. All the funds will be paid by him. Anyway, he is not short of money now. Chapter 21. Tongue War Heroes. Everyone, my father has other affairs this afternoon, so I entrusted me with full authority to represent him and attend this demonstration meeting. However, I only came with my eyes and ears. I will truthfully present your views to my father. Reported. You are all the most outstanding experts in the ships of the German Empire Navy. I believe that you will definitely come to a correct result and find a correct development path for the German Empire Navy. Crown Prince William said with a smile on his face. Give a speech. Of course, in his heart, he extremely hoped that the Naval Technical Committee could reject Qin Tian's design plan. Qin Tian's ability to make money is already terrifying enough. If Qin Tian shows his talent in naval ship design again, this will undoubtedly significantly improve Qin Tian's status in the royal family, and this will inevitably pose a serious threat to his crown prince status. Crown Prince William naturally did not want to see this happen. He hoped that his younger brothers were all mediocrity who would eat and wait to die. Only in this way can his succession to the throne be completely stabilized. Everyone, with the support of His Majesty the Emperor, the German Imperial Navy is developing at a high speed. However, the gap between us and the British Navy is still very large. Therefore, our naval development must not take detours. Otherwise, if so, the gap between us and the British Navy will be further widened. Regarding the design of Prince Oscar, you must seriously demonstrate it, and you must not be sloppy. Marshal Earl Tirpitz also said. He is undoubtedly very optimistic about Qin Tian's design, although, in many technologies, some advanced. But he could see how excellent the performance of the battleship designed by Qin Tian was. If it can be built, it will be of great help to enhance the strength of the German Navy. Subsequently, the demonstration meeting officially began. Everyone, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Your Excellency the Marshal have already expressed their importance to this demonstration meeting. Next, it is up to you. Next, the demonstration meeting will officially begin. First of all, His Highness Prince Oscar, please introduce his design to everyone. This battleship, Count von Warren said. Qin Tian stood up and nodded to everyone, then came to the podium on the side of the conference room. A staff member had already hung the blueprint of the battleship he designed on the wall. When the battleship designed by Qin Tian was displayed in front of everyone, many however people were shocked, because they have to admit that this battleship is so mighty and majestic. Of course, from a professional point of view, the style of this battleship is completely different from the existing battleships, and there are too many differences. Even though they had many questions in their hearts, they did not speak immediately, but waited for Qin Tian's introduction. After taking a deep breath, Qin Tian spoke. Experts, this is the battleship I designed. This battleship has a length of 145 meters, a width of 24 meters, a draft of 8.6 meters, a standard displacement of 18,500 tons, and a full load displacement of 20,500 tons g. The power is 12 heavy oil rods, 3 steam turbines. The power of the main engine is 25,000 horsepower 3-axis propulsion. The maximum speed is 21 knots. The endurance is 12,000 nautical miles at 10 knots and 3,000 nautical miles at 20 knots, armed with 3 triple-mounted 305 mm 45 caliber main guns, 12 150 mm 45 caliber secondary guns, and 16 single-mounted 88 mm anti-torpedo boat guns. In terms of armor defense, the defense of the main armor belt is 305 mm, and the deck armor 45 mm. The frontal armor of the turret is 305 mm, and the armor of the conning tower is 305 mm. Qin Tian introduced everyone. After listening to Qin Tian's introduction, everyone was stunned. They had to admit that the battleship designed by Qin Tian was indeed excellent. On paper, at least, the numbers appear to be excellent. Whether it's firepower, defense, or speed, they all greatly exceed their existing battleships that are even under construction. Compared with this battleship, the battleships they designed before are simply rubbish. Of course, this does not mean that they will bow their heads and admit defeat. Although the data on paper is beautiful, it must be able to be constructed. Ahem. Everyone, if you have any questions, please ask. Count von Warren coughed twice. Your Highness, with all due respect, the battleship you designed is indeed very good. At least, it looks like this on paper. However, I still have a few doubts. I hope His Highness can help me answer. Sir Dietrich jumped out first. As the best naval engineer of the German Navy, even though he was also shocked by Qin Tian's design. However, he will never admit defeat easily. Your Excellency, please speak. Qin Tian knew that the real test had begun. Your Highness, I noticed that the battleship you designed does not have a secondary main gun, but a triple-mounted large caliber main gun. Why do you have such an idea? You know, the current mainstream battleship, they are all deployed with large caliber main guns and sub-caliber secondary main guns. Sir Dietrich asked. Your Excellency, in my opinion, as the power of the main gun continues to increase, the range is also increasing. Soon long-distance naval battles will become the norm. In naval battles at longer distances, the secondary main gun can produce the role of the battleship is very small. Instead of this, it is better to deploy full heavy artillery to further enhance the firepower of the battleship at a long distance. In addition, more and more naval battles prove that broadside combat has become the norm. Therefore, this means that all the main guns of the battleship must be able to fire on one side. In this way, all firepower can be concentrated to further strengthen the combat effectiveness of the battleship. Sir Dietrich nodded. Let's not say whether His Royal Highness's conclusion is correct, but such a design is indeed very novel. However, when there is no definite evidence to prove this conclusion, I still think we should be more cautious. Qin Tian's face is not very good looking. These old guys from the Naval Technical Committee are really old-fashioned. Your Highness, there is no country in the world where the main guns of battleships use triple-mounted main guns. The triple-mounted main guns are too heavy, which will affect the stability of the battleship. At the same time, the muzzle storm formed when firing will have a great impact on the impact point and affect the accuracy of shelling. Brigadier General Goussard, a naval weapons expert, raised his own doubts. Your Excellency, the reason why the triple-mounted main guns are used is to make the hull more compact and further strengthen the defense. As for the problem of the muzzle storm, it is actually very easy to solve. For example, delayed firing. Among the triple-mounted main guns, the main gun in the middle can fire 0.5 seconds slower than the main guns on both sides when firing. In this case, it will have no effect at all. After listening to Qin Tian's explanation, Brigadier General Goussard's eyes lit up. Based on his experience, he can naturally tell whether this method is useful or not. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22, Veto. Your Highness, oil-fired boilers and steam turbines. Although we have already started research in this area, but so far, we have not made any breakthroughs. Moreover, we have no experience in this area. The battleships we built before, all coal-fired boilers and triple expansion reciprocating steam engines are used. If oil-fired boilers and steam turbines are used rashly, performance and reliability may not be guaranteed. Bruckner, chief engineer of the Naval Technical Committee, expressed his opinion. Oil-fired boilers and steam turbines are indeed new things. However, we cannot deny their performance just because of new things. The British have already tested steam turbines on large warships and achieved very good results. By it can be seen that the performance of the steam turbine is better than that of the triple expansion reciprocating steam engine, and it even represents the future development direction. Even if we do not have experience in this area, we can also start research and experiments in this area from now on. I believe with the scientific and technological strength of the German Empire, there is no problem in making breakthroughs in this area. I hope that in this area, we will not be left too far behind by the British. Qin Tian said. Oscar, if oil-fired boilers are used, doesn't that mean that we will consume a lot of heavy oil? Germany is short of oil. Once the war breaks out, and our overseas trade lines for importing oil are cut off, the consequences will be disastrous. Therefore, I think a coal-fired boiler would be better. Crown Prince William jumped out, and he seemed to have forgotten that at the beginning of the demonstration conference, he said that he only had eyes and ears. But now, he has put what he said behind him. Oil-fired boilers have great advantages over coal-fired boilers. Although Germany lacks oil, we can store as much oil as possible before the war. In this way, once the war breaks out, we will have enough oil to use. As long as our navy can defeat the British in naval battles and break through their blockade, then everything will be fine. Qin Tian continued. He knew that there were some oil fields in Germany itself. However, the output is not large. At the same time, mining is more difficult. In terms of current technical conditions, it is difficult to mine. Therefore, storing enough oil before the war has become the best way to solve the problem. Anyway, as long as the German Navy wins, all problems will naturally be solved. If the German Navy loses, it will naturally be meaningless. Your Highness, what do you think of the battleship designed by Prince Oscar? Marshal Earl Tirpitz asked. Your Excellency, Marshal, it seems to be a very good battleship. Its performance and combat effectiveness are outstanding. If we can have such a battleship, the strength of the High Seas Fleet will be further improved. High Seas Fleet Commander, however, Prince Rishi said. Marshal Earl Tirpitz nodded. He was well aware of the gap between the German Navy and the British Navy, and also knew that, if the German Navy wanted to defeat the British Navy, it had to take a different path. Judging from the current situation, the experts of the Naval Technical Committee clearly disagree with Qin Tian's design plan. This made it very difficult for them to turn Qin Tian's design into reality. Of course, if William II and Marshal Count Tirpitz use their power to forcefully promote the construction of a new type of battleship, others have no choice but to pinch their noses to recognize it. However, this will seriously trample on the traditions and rules and regulations of the German Navy, which will cause a series of problems. Your Excellency, Marshal, can we overcome the novelty of Prince Oscar's design? Prince Heinrich asked. If there is an outstanding naval ship designer among the children of the royal family, it will undoubtedly make the royal family proud. Prince Heinrich is also happy to see this. There are some problems, but if we concentrate our efforts on public relations, the problems will not be big. Marshal Earl Tirpitz said. Then it depends on the decision of the Naval Technical Committee. Prince Heinrich sighed. Experts, do you have any doubts about this? Count von Warren asked. Your Highness, I have noticed that the main guns of the battleships you designed are 305mm main guns. However, we only have the old-fashioned 305mm main guns. The main guns are not very powerful and the range is not far. And, the rate of fire is very low. The overall performance is not as good as Krupp's 280mm 45 caliber cannon. Therefore, I think it is more appropriate to use the 280mm Krupp cannon, Brigadier General Gossett said. The performance of Krupp's 280mm main gun is indeed very good. However, the disadvantage of too small a caliber will greatly affect the armor-piercing performance of the shell. Facing the enemy's thickly armored battleship, it will be greatly affected. Restrictions. With Krupp's strength, it shouldn't be a problem to develop a 305mm main gun as soon as possible. As far as I know, the British have generally adopted 305mm main guns. Even the 343mm main gun with a larger caliber, they are also developing it. In terms of the caliber of the main gun, we are far behind the British. Qin Tian retorted. No, we can't let Oscar go on anymore, otherwise those experts should be persuaded by him. Crown Prince William was secretly anxious. Everyone, it's almost time. Prince Oscar has explained your doubts. So, can you draw conclusions now? Crown Prince William asked with a smile on his face. The experts of the Naval Technical Committee immediately began to think about it. I'm sorry, Your Highness. I think we should be more cautious. Your design is a little too bold, Sir Dietrich said. His Royal Highness's design uses a lot of new technologies. We have not yet mastered these technologies. In addition, there is no evidence of the advantages of full heavy artillery. Therefore, I think this design should be reviewed again. Bruckner also opposed Qin Tian's opinion. Subsequently, other experts also expressed their opinions one after another. No one supported Qin Tian's design. His Royal Highness, the opinion of the Naval Technical Committee is already obvious. That is your design, which may be correct. However, judging from the current situation, it is not suitable. Therefore, it cannot be passed for the time being. Naval Technical Committee Chairman Count von Warren said. Oscar, don't be discouraged. Although your design was rejected, you are still young, and there are still opportunities in the future. Crown Prince William comforted. But Qin Tian clearly saw the unconcealable gloating in his eyes. Chapter 23, Rich is Willful. Looking at Crown Prince William's hypocritical face, Qin Tian wished he could slap him. Although he had known for a long time that Crown Prince William was a jealous and suspicious person, he did not expect that he would treat his own brother like this. Of course, it would be a lie to say that Qin Tian has no idea about the throne. But he knows that it will be very difficult to squeeze Crown Prince William from the position of heir to the throne. The Western world is not like the Eastern world, where the succession of crown princes is ordinary. Western crown princes are generally difficult to replace. Therefore, Qin Tian did not expect to replace Crown Prince William at all. All he did was not reconcile to Germany's failure in future wars. After all, he is now the Prince of the German Empire. Once the empire collapses, it will undoubtedly be a huge blow to him. If the German Empire can win the war, he can also gain huge benefits from it. But obviously, what he did made Crown Prince William feel the crisis. In order to keep his position, he began to spare no effort to suppress Qin Tian. Even though Qin Tian's design was of great benefit to the German Empire, Qin Tian took a deep breath, although he had expected such a result a long time ago. However, he found that he still underestimated the staidness of these old antiques in the Naval Technical Committee. No wonder the German Navy will be defeated in the end. There are also big reasons for this. I respect the decision of the Naval Technical Committee. Of course, I believe that you will soon find that what you insist on is fundamentally wrong. At that time, you will make the Navy of the German Empire because of your choice. Once again, it was left behind by the British. It will be even more difficult for the German Imperial Navy to overtake the British Navy. If Germany fails in future wars, all of you will be the culprits. At that time, I will look, what face do you have to continue living in the world? Qin Tian's face was full of anger. Qin Tian scolded all the experts from the Naval Technical Committee. Immediately, everyone's faces became ugly. Although, they very disagree much with Qin Tian's accusations against them. The chairman of the Naval Technical Committee, Count von Warren, had a particularly ugly expression on his face. Under his leadership, the Naval Technical Committee contributed enormously to the development of the German Navy. Now, being accused by a brat like this, where does this put their old face? HMPH. Your Royal Highness, although you are honorable, you have no right to insult us like this. We are subjects of the German Empire, and we only need to be responsible to His Majesty the Emperor and all the people. We don't need you to teach us what to do. In the field of warship manufacturing, our experience is much richer than yours. Although your design uses a lot of novel things. However, it is nothing more than sensationalism. Navy warships need to cooperate with many factors, not blindly pile up new technologies. You are still too young, you'd better go to the Naval Academy to study hard for a few years and then discuss with us after you get your diploma. Sir Dietrich, the director of shipbuilding, sarcastically said. Indeed, they are all masters in the field of shipbuilding technology, so they couldn't accept being ridiculed by Qin Tian like this. Okay, everyone, don't say a few words. It is understandable that everyone has differences in theory. Time will prove who is right and who is wrong. Count von Warren said with a cold face, although he was also very displeased with Qin Tian's previous remarks. However, Qin Tian's status as a prince must be taken into account after all, and I don't want to make it too rigid. Oscar, I apologize to everyone. As the prince of the German Empire, how can you act so recklessly? Even if your design is rejected, you can't lose your temper because of it. These experts are the pillars of the empire. Crown Prince William said with a straight face. Qin Tian's performance shocked him, but at the same time, made him secretly happy. Being able to hit Qin Tian's reputation is undoubtedly what he hopes to see. If Qin Tian's reputation is rotten, it will be even more impossible to pose a threat to him. HMPH. I have the right to refuse. Moreover, I firmly believe that my design is correct. You will soon know how wrong you are. Qin Tian held his head high. Oscar, you are too presumptuous. I will report what you have done to the Emperor. Crown Prince William trembled with anger. In front of so many people, Qin Tian dared to disobey him. This undoubtedly did not take him seriously at all. He made up his mind that once he succeeded to the throne and became the leader of the Hohenzollern family, he must drive Qin Tian out of the family. Marshal Count Tirpitz and Prince Heinrich looked at each other, seeing helplessness in each other's eyes. Also didn't expect how a good demonstration conference would evolve into this. Of course, the Naval Technical Committee has already made a conclusion. Even in their capacity, it is not easy to overturn it. Qin Tian glanced at Crown Prince William contemptuously. Historically, he was considered to be a man of great ambition and lack of tolerance, and he was absolutely right. As you like, Qin Tian said indifferently. Afterwards, Qin Tian took a look at the high-ranking experts of the Naval Technical Committee and said, don't think that the battleship I designed won't become a reality if you reject my design. Don't forget, this is not a battleship under the German Navy. It is a first-class capital ship. It is a battleship I donated to the Navy. Therefore, your decision does not mean anything to me. I will build this battleship and then let you see my ship battleships, how powerful they are, let you realize your mistakes. Who told me that I don't need these tens of millions of marks at all? There is no way. Money is human nature. Qin Tian said this with a very unbeatable expression. Suddenly, everyone was stunned. Indeed, although they rejected Qin Tian's design, what's the use of that? Qin Tian did not bid for the next level battleship of the German Navy, but a battleship presented to the German Navy. Everything can be decided by Qin Tian. Their objections are of no use at all. The expressions on the faces of these experts have become very exciting. During the whole incident, they acted like a clown. In vain, they put on an appearance of great skill to teach Qin Tian a lesson. Being rich is self-willed. This guy, Prince Heinrich said with a smile. Marshal Earl Tirpitz had a wry smile on his face. Qin Tian slapped the Navy Technical Committee hard. Chapter 24. The EMPEROR and -039's support. This time I offended these guys severely. But, what does that matter? Now that I have money, I can naturally be willful. Qin Tian walked out of the Naval Technical Committee building, thinking a little speechlessly. He didn't expect it to be this far. However, he has no regrets. Instead of letting these old-fashioned guys delay the German Navy, it is better to scold them severely. Maybe they can wake them up. Of course, whether this will work or not, Qin Tian is not sure at all. Germans are notoriously rigid. At this moment, a Mercedes-Benz car drove up to Qin Tian. Oscar, come up. Prince Heinrich said inside. Okay, Your Royal Highness. Qin Tian nodded and got into Prince Heinrich's car. Oscar, to be honest, you surprised me very much. Among the many princes in the royal family, you were not outstanding at first. But I didn't expect that you are now a blockbuster. Prince Heinrich sighed. Before Qin Tian, he was taciturn and was not favored by William II. In the royal family, he was like an invisible person. But now, Qin Tian founded the German welfare lottery company single-handedly and made it an extremely profitable company. The monthly profits shocked everyone. Now, Qin Tian actually designed an advanced battleship. Although it was not adopted by the Naval Technical Committee, Prince Heinrich believed that once it was actually built, it would definitely shock the world. His Royal Highness praised it. However, my design was still not adopted by the Navy Technical Committee. Qin Tian seemed a little frustrated. If it can pass, then the capital ship of the next level of the German Navy will undergo earth-shaking changes. Maybe the German Navy will really be able to overtake in curves and surpass the British Navy. Oscar, even if it is not adopted by the Naval Technical Committee, so what? I have always thought that those guys are too old-fashioned. Personally, I'm very optimistic about the battleship you designed. Since you do not lack funds, then you can build the battleship. Then, let's see what kind of expressions those people will have. Prince Heinrich encouraged. Qin Tian nodded. He was also looking forward to that day. However, Your Royal Highness, after being rejected by the Navy Technical Committee, I'm afraid no shipyard will help me build it. They still want to continue to get orders from the Navy. Qin Tian was a little worried. Although there are many shipyards in Germany, there are only a few capable of building battleships. These shipyards have a very close relationship with the Naval Technical Committee. After offending the Naval Technical Committee, even if Qin Tian places an order with these shipyards, they probably won't accept it. This is indeed a big trouble. However, I believe there will always be a solution. Oscar, you are so young. I believe that your future will definitely shine. I'm very optimistic about you. Prince Heinrich patted Qin Tian on the shoulder. Thank you, Your Royal Highness. Qin Tian also knew that he couldn't give up easily now. Anyway, he was only 16 years old, and he still had a lot of life to live, so it was nothing if he experienced some setbacks. Prince Heinrich sent Qin Tian back to the palace, and then left. After all, today is Christmas, the day of family reunion. In the evening, Qin Tian and his family got together and had a sumptuous Christmas dinner. At dinner, Wilhelm II did not mention what happened this afternoon at the Naval Technical Committee. However, Qin Tian saw Crown Prince William's gloating in his eyes. He knew that Crown Prince William must have slandered him in front of William II. However, there was nothing he could do about it. The other party is the Crown Prince, with a noble status, and is more favored in the eyes of William II. Compared with him, Qin Tian is inherently at a disadvantage. After dinner, William II will go to handle official business as usual. Generally speaking, the Queen leads the children and chats to enhance the relationship between the royal family. The so-called royal family has no kinship, although the Western royal family is not as good as the Eastern one in terms of struggle. However, the battle among the princes is quite obvious. As parents, William II and the Queen naturally wanted to ease the tense atmosphere. Oscar, follow me to the study, William II said when he left. Yes, royal father. Qin Tian nodded. He couldn't hide what should come. If William II wanted to teach him a lesson, he couldn't escape, even if he wanted to. Offending those experts at the Naval Technical Committee, now he will feel better. Crown Prince William gloated. The Queen couldn't help sighing when she saw this situation. Do it, Oscar. After entering William II's study, Qin Tian was like a child who made a mistake, waiting for William II's punishment. However, to his surprise, William II was not angry. Yes. Qin Tian immediately sat down. Oscar, you were too reckless at the Naval Technical Committee this afternoon. Even if they rejected your design, you shouldn't argue with them, and even ridicule them. This will have a very negative impact on your reputation, said William II. Yes, royal father, today I was impulsive. Qin Tian bowed his head and admitted his mistake. He knew the character of William II, and if he refuted it, it would only annoy William II even more. Instead, he took the initiative to admit his mistake, so that William II would not pursue it. William II saw Qin Tian's attitude, and the anger in his heart dissipated a lot. After all, this is his son, and he has shown outstanding talent. Forget it. Who has never been young? You are young now, and it is normal to be a little angry. William II waved his hand, and the matter was exposed. Father, I just can't understand them using the so-called experience as an excuse to make our navy lose a good opportunity for development. Qin Tian said bitterly. Oscar, you are very confident in your design. Yes, father. I promise, once the battleship I designed is built, it will definitely be the most powerful battleship. It is even more powerful than the next level battleship secretly designed by the British. When the time comes, we will be able to suppress over the British. Qin Tian said confidently. King William II frowned and did not speak, as if thinking about it. After a while, he spoke. Oscar, as your father and the Emperor of the German Empire, I'm willing to support you, and I hope you will not let me down. Since you announced in the Naval Technical Committee that you will build a battleship, then go ahead and do it. William II made up his mind. Chapter 25. Father Pitt's son. Father, there is no need to worry about money. With the profitability of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, it is no problem at all to support the construction of a battleship. The main problem now is probably that there will be no shipyard to undertake the construction of my design. The battleship. The guys from the Naval Technical Committee will definitely obstruct it. Qin Tian said with a bitter face. The Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company can bring Qin Tian at least 200 million marks or more profit every year. The cost of building a battleship is only 40 to 50 million marks. To the rich and powerful Qin Tian, it was nothing at all. However, it was not so easy to find a shipyard willing to help rebuild battleships and turn the drawings into reality. This is indeed a problem. Even I don't have much to do about it. William II frowned. German shipyards capable of building battleships, primarily the Naval Shipyard in Kiel, the Germania Shipyard, the Royal Shipyard in Wilhelmshaven, the Weser Shipyard in Bremen, the Vulcan Shipyard in Hamburg, and the Blomwerth Shipyard, Danzig's Schuachsio Shipyard. These shipyards, with the exception of the Naval Dockyard and the Royal Dockyard, are all privately owned. Even William II couldn't force them to build battleships for Qin Tian. Father, if I build a shipyard by myself, can I get your support? I mean the technicians and managers. After all, I don't have any foundation in this field. Qin Tian thought for a while, and then said, since those shipyards won't help him build battleships, he might as well do it himself. It is better to ask for help than to ask for oneself. Anyway, he will not lack in funds. The Deutsche Welfare Lottery has become a cash cow, bringing him huge profits every month. Build a shipyard by yourself? It's not impossible. However, I have a better way. Instead of building a shipyard by myself, everything starts from scratch. It's better to buy a shipyard. In this case, at least I have a little foundation. William II said. Acquiring a shipyard? This is a good idea. But which shipyard is suitable? Qin Tian thought. It is indeed better than building a new shipyard from scratch. Well, the Royal Shipyard of the royal family can be transferred to you. William II said. Is it the Royal Shipyard in Wilhelmshaven? That's not bad. However, I'm afraid I don't have that much money right now, so I have to owe it first. I can borrow from you at the bank's interest. Qin Tian was overjoyed. The Royal Shipyard in Wilhelmshaven is one of the main shipyards in Germany, capable of building various types of ships, including battleships. Of course, if such a large shipyard is to be acquired, it will require a huge amount of funds. At least 2 or 3 billion. Although Qin Tian's Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company made money, it belongs to future income. It is impossible for Qin Tian to come up with so much money all at once, unless he waits for a year or two. A trace of embarrassment flashed across William II's face. Oscar, you seem to have misunderstood. I'm not talking about the Royal Shipyard, but the Royal Shipyard. These are 2 different shipyards. The former is located in Wilhelmshaven, and the latter is located in Danzig. William II explained. Huh? Is it the Royal Shipyard in Danzig? Qin Tian was also dumbfounded. Although the Royal Shipyard has been established for hundreds of years, it is still only a medium-sized shipyard. It only has experience in building small and medium-sized warships and ships, and has no ability to build battleships at all. Among other things, the entire shipyard doesn't even have a berth for building large battleships. If Qin Tian remembers correctly, the entire royal shipyard is in the red every year. Further, the royal shipyard doesn't have the ability to build battleships at all. Qin Tian was speechless. This is easy to handle. After you buy it, expand it and recruit more technicians and skilled workers. I will find a way to transfer a group of engineers from the royal shipyard and naval shipyard. This will improve the shipbuilding capacity of the royal shipyard. Come up, there is no problem. What William II said seemed to be very simple. Qin Tian hesitated. No matter how you look at it, it looks like William II is eager to sell the loss-making royal shipyard. But if William II wants to cheat people, he can find someone else. He is the son of William II. How could there be such a thing as a father cheating on his son, Oscar? Now Germany's economy is developing at a high speed, and the profits of all shipyards are pretty good. If you want to acquire other shipyards, it will not be so easy. At the same time, you will need to spend more money. Besides, they will not just like me. I will give you a loan directly. You have to think carefully. There will be no such shop. After passing this village, William II urged, the royal shipyard has already belonged to the non-performing assets of the royal family. Although the annual loss is not much, it still gives William II some headaches. It would be great if this shipyard could be sold. What's more, after Qin Tian took over the shipyard, the battleships built also belonged to the German Navy. This can be said to kill two birds with one stone. Qin Tian was very speechless. Wasn't he putting in so much effort just to fulfill his promise? This is also of great benefit to the German Navy and even Germany as a whole. After thinking for a long time, Qin Tian still planned to take over the royal shipyard. Now that William II had already made this request, as his son, he had no choice. However, for his own benefit, Qin Tian will naturally try his best to bargain with William II. Father, how much do you plan to sell the royal shipyard? Qin Tian asked. 50 million marks, not a penny less. Father, I don't have that much money at all. Now I only have 10 million marks in my hand. Qin Tian spread his hands, looking very helpless. It doesn't matter, you can pay in installments, and you can pay 10 million marks in each installment. With the earning power of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company, it will be paid off soon. William II said with a smile. He wasn't worried about Qin Tian's ability to pay at all. You know, the ability of the Deutsche Welfare Lottery Company to attract money makes even him, the emperor, envious of it. If this company is not owned by Qin Tian, and Qin Tian has the knowledge to hand over part of the profits to the royal family, he will not be able to resist using various means to swallow this company. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.